Hello. Hi, how are you?
My name is Sandy. I'm from Sapirion Global Production.
Yes, welcome. Welcome.
How are you?
How are you? My name is Leo. I'm the chair.
Hi, Leo.
Harry.
Are you very lucky?
Yes, so
Of course.
hey. Mm,
Oh, Mary not with us?
yeah, I was looking for her. She wasn't gonna join us in person. She was gonna be online. She
Right.
just had a surgery.
Right, and because anyway, she counts as the form even if.
Even if she's not online, correct.
Right, yeah.
I saw Robin online, but he disappeared.
Um,
Oh no, he's on. He's on.
John Francis is someone new.
John Francis, he hasn't been to a meeting, but he was online the last couple of months. I'm not sure.
Okay,
What he
well,
is saying.
and Carmen,
Carmen's here.
Carmen's here.
Yeah, I think we have quorum actually.
Make Carmen.
We have three.
Oh, I
we
didn't
have
sign in,
six.
sorry.
Shame on you, Carmen.
Sorry.
Whoa, coming in.
Okay.
Right. We should have quorum
Yes.
actually.
Six.
There's six and then Robin is online.
He doesn't count.
He doesn't count.
Robin is online.
Yeah, he doesn't count.
Why you
No,
don't, because he's not
for quorum.
excused.
So Mary says.
I don't-
count.
No, I'm count.
On the count.
No, it doesn't count.
Robin, I think, has an excuse.
Of course I count.
Unless you have a permanent disability, you don't count as part of the quorum.
I
Robin, you
do
don't,
have the form. And it's done. They have it.
You have a permanent disability?
Yes.
Okay,
Right, so I guess we'll start.
you don't sign it yet.
Okay. So I think we do have quorum then. All right, so good evening to our attendees. Thank you guys for joining us. We are a committee of action and advocacy. My name is Leo
I love
Jimenez
that.
and I am your chair. And we'll go around just introducing every committee member so you guys can get familiar as well. We could start with Bruce on.
Jerry Herson? Carmen Paulino,
Jim Berlin. I'm also the board's parliamentarian, as you may have noticed.
James Osmond. Okay, and then we have Robin, if you want to introduce himself. Robin is online. He couldn't make it in today.
Robin Cruz.
Thank you. So we have a bit of a lengthy agenda. We have a few presentations. Thank you guys for coming. We are going to minimize or limit the public session to 2 minutes. I know for people coming in online to advocate against e-bike safety, they will not be presenting at this committee today. They might maybe come in the near future. We will still hear your input, but they will not be here today. Okay, so without further ado, at the beginning of each meeting, we provide certain updates. We have DOT and MTA here. They'll provide updates for us, and then we'll continue the presentations. So Alberto Roldan is MTA. Alberto, are you on?
Hey, Andy, how's it going?
Doing well, man. What updates do you have for us? I know we emailed quite a bit.
Yeah, I think you asked about the M3 bus, right? One of the updates there.
Yes, the MTA bus on around 190 and Fort George, yes.
Yeah, so I did share the photos of our outreach when we did the initial change of the stop. So if there's issues with drivers not stopping there, by all means, let me know. But that was early in the summer, so that should have been resolved for some time. But happy to go back to road supervision, see if there's any issues there for our customers, of course.
Yeah, Mary usually is here, and she's the one that takes that bus a little more frequent than the rest of us. So she would input, but I'll reach out to her on the side and see what's going on.
Yeah, let me know. I'm happy to help if there's an issue there. But as terms of that stop, that was announced for some time, and it's to really make the operation easier. For those customers who have issues going down that hill, right? That's the issue, right? We do have the term escapes me now, but we do have kind of a stand on to go to the first stop of the bus. We do have that option if the driver does not have like a break that they must get off the bus. So I can share the details on how that works. But essentially, the customer remains on the bus. If the driver is staying on the bus, they remain on the bus and then not have to pay again for the next stop. So if that makes sense. So I'm the customer. I'm the last stop. I don't want to walk down that hill, right? I say, hey, can I stay on? Driver says yes. And then they'll stay on till the next stop down the hill. That's how we have it set up for you.
Does that depend on the driver?
That's what I said.
Is that for up to his discretion?
Do your drivers, are they aware of that? I know if they get off, it's different,
Right. So if the driver has like a personal, right, to use the restroom or has a lunch, then the customer has to get off the bus. So that's if the driver is remaining on the bus.
But can the customer wait a few minutes and get back on the bus and then make their way down the hill?
As long as the driver is on it and they know they're where the customer getting back on, then that's not a problem.
Okay, yeah, if you can just
Not to pay.
reach out, I'm sorry, James, if you can just make sure that dispatch or whoever it is lets them know so we can avoid that issue. Like I said, in that area, we have nursing homes, Isabella Geriatric Centers nearby. We have kids, schools, a lot of elderly of our community residents live in that area. So we want to make sure they don't have to take that truck.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in the winter, right? So I will definitely send over that policy and how it works, so you can have that in your toolbox and you can share with the residents as well.
Awesome. James had a question for you.
Yeah, how long is the bus driver break normally? I mean, is it 5 minutes, 15 minutes?
It depends on what the schedule is built into the schedule. So that depends on the timing of the day and all that. So that it's a case by case. I don't know the schedule, but it depends on the time of day and the route and if, all that. So it varies.
Okay, cool. Any other updates, Alberto?
Yeah, for sure. So the capital plan, right? We made a big announcement of the capital plan, the proposed capital plan. It proposes 60 stations. We announced 30, and we're gonna have public outreach for the remaining 30. Of the ones in this district, we proposed the 155th Street, 88 for the C line, 155th Street. Are the one line, those train cars that we have grown to love and hate, we're replacing those. It's good news, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you just repeat that? I'm sorry, you said 155th Street, the C line?
The 88, they're gonna fix 88.
Okay, and then what was the one after that?
The one line, they're replacing the subway cars, right?
Subway cars. You know those hot cars every summer, like it's empty, you walk in, it's steaming. We're replacing those cars in this capital plan. And in order to do that, we're gonna have upgrades at the 240th Street rail yard because these are bigger trains, right? Taller trains. So we're gonna upgrade the rail yard so we can purchase these trains and give everyone a newer ride, AC on those hot summer cars. I know folks are getting tired of that. We hear you. We're meeting that demand, that replacement that you all deserve.
Do you know if this will go into effect before next summer, before it gets hot again?
No, we have to, right. We have, right now, the capital plan, the proposed plan is sent up to the state, right? They review it, we have a discussion, the state funds it, right? It's a conversation that's ongoing between us and the state. So, by next summer, no, I guarantee you won't be here by next summer, but it will be within that 5-year capital plan.
Okay,
Mary needs to be promoted.
got it right now.
Within the next 5 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the thing
Start,
is,
that's a start.
yeah, but so the difficulty of it is, as you know, we have to buy America, right? So there are only so many manufacturers that can make our rail cars and our buses. So with the dwindling number of those companies in America, it makes it harder. So we have to make sure we get our order in so we're not at the end of the line, right? So it's kind of, hey, we're ready to put an order in, got it. We put it in and we wait till they produce it. But we're the largest transportation authority in North America. So our order kind of gets takes a bit. It's not just one train car, we need a couple hundred, couple thousand.
Okay, is that all the updates, Alberto, you have for me?
Yeah, we have an event quickly about Reduce for Omni. So for our Reduce for customers, they should start receiving the Omni card in December. So we start mailing out early December, should get it by end of the year, beginning of next year, the Omni card. We're working on an event with the borough president, and I'm not sure if Jamila's on the call, but with De La Rosa's office, and having an event for reduced fare seniors in the community sometime in December. So once we get that solidified, I'll share the date and flyer with you.
Yes,
We want to get that.
yeah, we've been advocating for that, so we were excited about that one.
Alberto, is that event for people to get their cards there, or what's the event for?
Good question. So the event is more so two things, right? We want to give awareness of what is Reduced for Omni, how they use the new card, how do they refill it? Because now, instead of just going to the subway and a mobile van, they have 2 additional ways to refill the card. Online accounts and also our retail network, which means your Walgreens, CVS, 7-Eleven, they can go there and refill their cards as well, and no cost. So those are 2 features that we're really excited about, giving people convenience and flexibility,
Well,
and more access to the system. So that's what it's going to go about that. How does the card work? How do I use it? What are the cool features about it? And also, if you're not a customer already, we will have application for you to fill out and either mail in, bring to your mobile sales van, and also our customer service centers, the 15. The nearest one to CB12 is 168th Street.
I have a question. If I may.
Yeah, so let me let Jim, then James, and then Mary. I see your
You
hand.
may have the same question.
Go ahead, Jim.
I have a reduced fare, Metro card now, so I'll be getting the Omni card now. After I get this Omni card, I will still have the option if I want to switch to like a mobile device for my half fare, right?
Right. So if you don't want to use the card, you want to have it on your mobile device, you either come call Omni, we'll do it for you over the phone, or you visit us at the station, or a mobile sales van. We'll help you out with that, no problem.
Oh, so you can actually call Omni and they can arrange it on the phone?
They can do it now for you if you want, because you're already reduced for a customer.
Right. I know that, but the whole trick is the reduced fare magic has to be on my watch. Yeah.
So you would tell them what is the funding source, what card would have the benefit in this case.
Right. Very good. That's been very helpful. And basically what you're telling me, I think will make most people, my age very happy because, once they see how easy the Omni card is to use, I think they'll be very happy.
Yeah, of course. 1.5 million customers. So we're excited to get all of you online with us.
James?
Yeah, I'm sorry, maybe I missed something, but these cards are now automatically renewed. You don't have to go to the CVS or anything. for these new Omni cards, you actually have to go somewhere to have them renewed?
No, so, fair question. So if you already are a reduced fare customer, you will automatically receive the card. If you're a new sign up, you'll get the card as well. But these cards last about 5 to 6 years, so much longer than a Metro card. So those will come directly from us. A full fare card you can buy in the store, but reduced fare cards, including replacements if you lose it, come from MTA. And you can call and ask for a replacement the same way you do the Metro card.
Mary? Mary, we can't hear you. You have to mute yourself. Let me see if I can get through here.
Sorry.
No, or-
Since we're on the Omni card, I may have missed something in the translation just because I was trying to get onto the meeting. So to get an Omni, the reduced fare card, if we go to the Metro card truck, van, bus, we can do that there
To get the card, you mean? I'm sorry, I missed that
to get
first.
the Omni card.
So if
switch
you're
over.
right, so if you want to switch over, so first we're going to provide you the Omni card directly to you. Nothing on your end to do. And then once you get the card, you can refill it at the mobile van if you like, or any questions you have.
Wait a minute, I'm not. I think it's my hearing, but I'm not understanding exactly what I have to do. I have a regular reduced fare Metro card right now.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to get the Omni card?
Nothing. We're going to mail it to you automatically to current customer.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
okay, got it.
Yep.
And
Then
then what happens with the money that I still have on the Metro card?
So with the Metro card funds, you can either spend down, which would be the easiest way to do, spend it down, or there will be a refund option. But the easiest way is to spend down your funds on that card.
Yeah, but you know, it never goes to the exact amount.
Well, don't worry, we have the refund option for that. So no worries, you're going to get your money. We're not holding on to that.
Okay. Second thing, I just want to go on record as saying I was listening to the discussion about the M3 northbound bus. And I just, it sounds like it's totally up to the driver, whether the person can go all the way around by Fort George Hill. That 192 southbound where it's supposed to be the rest stop for the M3. I don't understand why. If that's supposed to be the rest stop, why then there's this other option for the bus to stop and people have to get off. And I want to go on record as saying that that's not accessible to the seniors in that area or the disabled or anyone else with small children. That's totally not acceptable. Either we're going to have that last stop be at 192 and St. Nicholas, where the first southbound stop is, or we're not going to bother doing anything about it because it doesn't make any sense. You're taking a chance if you keep going north.
Yeah, Alberto, I would love to get the contact of the dispatch. Maybe I can reach out to them, have a side conversation and see how we can promote so that their drivers actually consider, like I said, the area has a lot of seniors, students, seniors, so we want to make sure we do right by them.
Yeah, like I said,
Accessibility is huge for us.
Yeah, like I said, I'll share how that works now with the first stop, last stop to make sure folks understand how to best use it. But also keep in mind, it's if the driver has to get off the bus to take a break, then they're entitled to that. And in that case, the bus can't be left alone.
But my understanding from the get was that they were going to be doing that at 192nd. Getting off the bus there and taking their break there.
I mean, we can revisit this, Leo. I'll get you the updates for the.
I mean, that's what we
Yeah.
were told was going to happen, and that never happened. So,
Yeah, we'll just continue having this conversation offline, Alberto. We just want to again make sure that we provide accessibility to our elderly community. So
Absolutely.
we'll discuss if we can, rope in and have a conversation with dispatch, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I understand that people have to take their breaks, but we want to make sure that we have one of our grandmothers or family members, friends, neighbors, 70, 80 years old, and it's 20 degrees out. Some snow, we haven't had snow in a while, but some snow, they don't have to make that long treacherous trek,
The
Absolutely.
elements don't matter. It's the distance that people have to walk and they go to the disabled, the seniors and all of that up there.
Well, we'll have a conversation offline then, Roberta. Thank you for the update. So,
But I want to be on the offline.
yes,
discussion,
Mary,
please.
we'll rope you in as well. They're having that event with Carmen de la Rosa, so I want to make sure we have the agent committee a part of that. So you guys should be the first to know when that event is so we can promote it. Alberto, I have the lovely people from St. Spirit on. We emailed a bit about the bus cameras, and it's been a headache. They're not the only ones that have complained. I've gotten complained from numerous patrons, businesses, residents, schools where kids are being dropped off. People are not happy, so they want to advocate a bit. And I know you might not have all the answers today, but something we probably will continue working in the background. I know it's here to stay. It was implemented recently. So yeah, we don't have too many happy people. I'm gonna give them a few minutes just so you can hear the concerns. Again, you spoke to them offline as well.
I sent Paolo a response, but happy to, again, to hear, what they have to say and definitely explain any questions they might have for sure. Of
Thank
course.
you. You guys want to step up, just introduce yourself, your name, school, obviously, and then your concerns, and Alberto will do his best to respond, and we'll continue this conversation offline. It's a lot of details and a lot of goody, and he fortunately does not make the decision. I wish he did, but. So
No,
go ahead, yeah.
It's a start, and
It's a
thank you
start.
for having us here. My name is Spiridoula Tsoukalia. I am the treasurer of St. Spiridon Church, assistant treasurer.
And I'm sorry, can you just spell it for our records, for our minutes?
SPYRIDOULA. And St. Spiridon Church serves the community of Washington Heights for more than 70 years. And we have a school next to the church with 300 children that we educate them every day. And we love to have the children in our church. We have the affordable housing across the street with 3 buildings. And the big issue that the church has right now, it's a big challenge, and it's a problem for our existence, is the double parking. Because we have the services and our parishioners, even we have a valet parking because we don't want to disturb any problems or give any problems to the buses. But we support the law, but at the same time, when we have the valet to pick up the keys from our parishioner to park it, they get a ticket. We have the kids that their parents, they go to pick them up and they get a ticket. And we talk for every day this problem, because even if we want to take our stuff for the church, for 2 minutes, they get a ticket. So it's a big issue for us, and we have a big problem. Harry, can you say something?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Well, my name is Harry Pateroulakis.
Can you spell that as well?
Peroulakis. And I'm a member of St. Spiridon. As Spiridoula said, we experiencing this problem since August right now. And we need to find a solution as soon as possible, because we see our numbers diminishing of the parishioners, and I don't know what's going to happen with the school also. We have 300 members. We're a minority community in Washington Heights. Unfortunately, like, for example, like in August, September, we had like prior to that, we had around like maybe 150 people participating every Sunday in Sunday Mass. And now, like last week, we have like 40.
So it's a huge drop.
The parishioners are diminishing, the attendance are diminishing. And our school, the parents pick up the kids, they get a ticket. We try to unload something, as Spiridoula said, into the church, we get a ticket. They come Sunday morning for Sunday Mass, we get a ticket. And the bus, they go, I stayed outside and I watch the buses. It's a very busy street here. Buses go by all the time.
It is.
So we need to find a solution.
Yeah, can you?
What is the street?
It's 179, between 179 and 180 and
124,
Wadsworth.
yes, 124 Wadsworth and 179.
So St. Spiridon Church, School on the Square is the school.
Yes. And we have a lot of complaints from the parents also that they want to leave and go to another school for this issue, because it's a safety issue also.
Yeah. Alberto, like I said, I know that,
We also have, on Zoom, the president of the Paris.
yeah, what's his name? We'll promote him so he can.
Lydia Vagelos Kalmanis
And then,
and some other members of the
Okay.
board as well.
Right.
So maybe if they want to add something to our conversation.
We'll just
He'll
promote him.
yes,
We'll give him 2 minutes.
and Father Gregory is supposed to be here, but he's a little bit sick, so he had to go.
You say this started in August?
Yes.
What was in August that changed everything?
It's the law that,
They put the cameras in
Yeah,
Bassett.
right.
Yes.
Starting August,
And,
now if you park in front of the street or in front of a bus, they can take a picture.
Right.
And I understand to take a picture if somebody's like double parked in a bus lane.
If you're blocking the bus lane, if you're blocking the bus.
That's
you'll get-
very
you'll get-
Wait,
understandable,
what did they
but not when
TA
schools are
recently
picked
passed
up and dropped
I
off.
understand. If let's say you're driving, the bus is coming and you're double
But-
parked and blocking the bus,
Beautiful, sure.
they capture a picture,
Thank
you're gonna
you.
take over $150.
Got
You
it.
know, something is not only for the Orthodox, I have people that they are coming just to pray. We are open to the community. We have our festival coming, and all the community of Washington Heights, I know that they love the church and they come. It's a huge problem for us, because if we stop having services, if we stop having parishioners, then everything will close, and the school. It's a big issue for us.
Also the bus route,
Thank you.
10 years ago was was going through a different street.
Mhm.
10 years ago it changed. And that didn't go well with our community.
Yeah, now that-
Because we used to have people outside, we used to have our festival outside,
Mhm.
and now we're
Eliminated.
restricted to stay inside because of that, the bus going
So
through there.
we'll continue our conversation offline, and I'm gonna let Lydia and Reverend Gregory's on as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
We can,
Father, okay.
yeah, we can tie in DOT as well.
And then I have a question.
Yeah, we can tie in DOT as well, because DOT can help
Perfect.
alleviate certain things, and Lyle's on, so Lyle give some input, but we'll let Lydia and then Reverend Gregory speak.
Yes.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Lydia. You can-
Hi,
So-
fine. Thank you very much, Speedy Lula and Harry. So years ago, yes, it wasn't, that street was not a bus lane. And we had all our festivals outside. The children played outside during lunch hour. And we all lived harmoniously within the neighborhood. Now, apparently, since it's a bus lane, there's a problem. We can't even unload our car in front of the church or let our elderly people with walkers, wheelchairs, and canes without getting a ticket. So this is, as Mr. Petrolakis said, we noticed from August to now a drop from 150 people coming to church. Yesterday there were 30 people in church. So we're losing our community. We lose our community, we lose our school. Our school is there to educate 300 neighborhood children. And this is a tremendous burden on us. The church has tried to absorb some of the tickets. We just don't have the funds to do it.
Reverend Gregory, if you wanna,
yes, thank you for inviting us. And it's a real problem for us, as I'm the priest there in Spiridon, and I'm supposed to be with you this night, but I'm quite sick. I'm little, and we have a real problem with the bus. The bus, and as the Spiridula and Harris said years ago, it's not a bus road. So it's and if you are here every evening from maybe from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a nightmare for the traffic. You know, all the buses pass by the corner. So you may change not only for us, for the traffic, but for the street. It's you may change the route of the buses or of some buses. So it's a real problem for us, and please, we ask for a solution. Thank you.
Thank you. So, no, I'm sorry, Jim. So I can understand the frustration.
We can't hear.
So I attended St. Spiridon when I was 4 years old. It was the first universal pre-kindergarten school in our area, actually.
Right.
In other schools, public schools, they don't want to accept me. I was 3 years old. I went to pre-kindergarten when I was 3 years old. They didn't want to accept me. St. Spiridon actually opened their arms. Instead, we had to pay, but it's the first school, so I could understand, and we want to make sure. Right now, they're a charter school. I believe School on the Square is a
Yeah.
charter school. So we want to make sure that we're not only for the parishioners that attend church, right? We respect faith, but as well for the neighborhood students who go to these schools. I believe the school now houses sixth grade to seniors in high school, 6 to 12. Right? 6 to 12, right? Jim, go ahead.
Okay, I've been on the traffic committee probably almost as long as we've had traffic. And I need some clarification. It sounds like, and I may be wrong, that there's an actual bus lane running either in front of the church or next to the church. An actual bus lane. Now, the thing about bus lanes, of course, is if you're in a bus lane, cars are not supposed to be in bus lanes at all. So let me just go on,
Yeah,
and
go
then
ahead.
they can
Go.
correct me and explain what it actually is, and we have Lyle on the phone, we can clarify.
It's not a bus lane, it's a bus route.
Yeah, it's a bus route.
It's a bus, not a bus lane.
It's a two-way
Okay.
street. It's a
Very good, so it's not a bus lane. Now,
Bus route.
very good, thank you.
yeah. No, I know it pretty well. Yeah, I know it pretty
Yeah,
well.
okay, but, yeah.
It's
Let me just
it's
finish,
two
and then I'll
two
give you a
ways.
picture.
Well, that should be.
Okay, so it's not a bus lane. Now, as I understand this, and of course, the law may have been changed. But the law as it was until recently, and again, it may have changed in August, is only the buses in actual bus lanes had cameras. And if a car was in a bus lane where it didn't belong, it would be photographed by the camera and these people would rightfully get tickets.
Yes.
Now, if the law has changed in such a manner that if you just double park in front of a bus, you're gonna get a ticket, then that's essentially an untenable policy completely, because when you have a church, there has to be the ability for parishioners in cars to get in and out of the church. And if all they do, if they cannot do this without getting a ticket, then, basically you have a ticket mill. This is absolutely unacceptable. And the other piece of it is the same thing with this charter school. Because of the way things are, many parents like to bring their child to the school in their car or in a car service car, maybe whatever. And again, we cannot create rules that make it impossible for the school to function. Because the situation as I understand it is basically, and as the folks here have described it and the folks on Zoom, it's an untenable situation. And if you have regulations that are causing this, then MTA and DOT, and we'll be happy to help, have to put your heads together and figure out different regulations so that, this church can function and so that the charter school can function. And right now it almost sounds like something from one of these stories, like by Kafka, where, you're guilty and you don't even know why, so that's my comment. And thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Yes, go.
The only thing that I want to say, the same time that we are getting tickets across the street, all the other churches, they have that part because they don't have the bus route.
Okay.
And they
Yeah,
have their services.
Yeah, once
And
I'm
that's happy because we exist together, but we feel like we are discriminated, like we are the people that we get punished. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Thank you.
These are
So
crazy rules.
I'm gonna allow Alberto and Luke De Palma who from MTA join. Maybe you guys can respond. And again, I know it doesn't fall under your belt. It goes up a little higher, but maybe we can start the discussion so we can figure out a solution to this.
Alberto, do you want to talk a little bit about ACE itself, automated camera enforcement?
Yes, so I think I think folks are aware that ACE has been expanded in August, right? It's a state law, and meant to speed up bus service along our bus lanes and congestion corridors. In August, it was expanded to include double park cars as well. So while in this case the BX36 is a route that has the cameras enabled, a lot of these double park violations. So bus lane violations, bus stop violations, also double parking. So it's a number of different types of infractions that are already part of the traffic code in the state and the city.
And
Hop in.
just to jump in, so you guys are right. So it is a shift. The state law shifts what was previously, experienced by drivers throughout the city. So this is not limited to bus lanes. So cars that are in bus lanes previously, it would be very obvious they'd understand that, right? This law makes it automatic to issue fines for vehicles that are breaking traffic law, but even outside of bus lanes. So this includes double parking in a way that would block bus routes and bus operations because the cameras are on the buses. This includes parking in bus stops. So if your people are sitting in a bus stop, they don't see a bus coming, they want to run in or run out or do something quick, but the bus comes, they're subject to getting the fine based on automated camera enforcement, ACE, on buses now. And we're rolling it out on select buses as we go. And Alberto, which route is the one that's enforcing it right now here? It's the BX36?
BX36, correct.
Yeah. And you guys have a number of routes. There are a number of routes that are actually crossing or turning around at this location. But that's the bus that's doing it. And it's being rolled out across the city as state law in partnership with DOT and the Department of Finance. So it's enforcing existing traffic law, as Alberto was saying. So that's, that is an issue. We understand the impact that has with people that are accustomed to being able to double park, to drop off or pick up or anything like that. But this law that was passed is not something that the MTA can just change on its own or modify. It's a state law, and it codifies enforcement for existing traffic law that's already in place. And that's key. So it's not penalizing anybody for new infractions. These are just infractions that previously would have needed police car or something to roll up and give tickets. Now it's just automated on the bus. And this is really in an effort to reduce the impact to bus operations that everyone is well aware of, right? If you ride the bus, you know the slow speeds and impact to our operations that have been happening. And this was a way to address it.
Yeah.
So that's the explanation of ACE.
Yeah, and I do want to also since DOF administers the program, they also have information on specifics violate the bus lane, bus stop, double parking violations. They also have information if you want to dispute that violation. It tells you, what the rules are and possible concerns that you can dispute that. So you do have a right to dispute the ticket, like anything else.
Okay, one second. I'm gonna have Harry, if you want last comments.
Well, I just wanted to say that it's a violation if somebody double parks the car and leaves the car. But I never got a ticket in the past if I double park to unload or load my vehicle or give it to the valet to take it somewhere else. So I understand that it's a violation and they enforcing an existing violation for a parked car to be outside double park. I'll understand that, but I don't understand that, why getting tickets, somebody's in the car, there's a valet in the car trying to get it out, or somebody loading or unloading the car.
I think given the fact that Wadsworth is such a narrow street, for example, if you
that's the main issue.
Right. If you double park, then the bus or another car has to go around that vehicle into oncoming traffic. It becomes a safety issue. So all this is about speed and safety as well. I think
Let me ask you
a big thing that DOT wants to push as well. So
and Lyle's on the call. In front of the church, do they have a no standing sign?
No
Yes.
Parking? They do?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, everybody.
Yeah, but the people that they park at the no parking zone, nobody gets a ticket.
So
The people that the double park, the
Are the ones that
load
get
gets a ticket. That's why it's like completely unfair. And maybe they can take MTA can take an exception to like maybe help us out here, you know?
So I think this is a conversation we're gonna have with DOT, MTA, and local enforcement.
And may I say,
Enforcement should be providing tickets to anybody in those no standing or no parking.
Yeah.
They should. So it's something that,
But I don't
again,
think
I
it's
think,
for us,
I think-
and lot of other
Yeah.
institutions, you know?
go ahead, Luke, I'm sorry. And we're gonna.
I was gonna say, you know, we understand, we're sympathetic to this issue, the issues that you're raising. It's a very significant change in the culture of operating a vehicle around New York. This is a new kind of enforcement. You didn't get tickets before because you need like a police car to show up and go through the whole interaction of ticketing a double park car, and that's very rare. This is automatic. So it's something like the MTA, we want to work with DOT and enforcement and the community board to see what might be possible curbside to be able to facilitate the congregants to the church and the patrons and the parents of the students at the school to be able to get them more curbside access. We can't change the law, and the law is it's a partnership between the city and the state. It's not something we can unilaterally change, and that's something you can talk to elected officials about. But we want to work with you guys about the curb space use, and if there are rules, laws that are not being fairly applied because people are sitting in no parking zones that are reserved for the church on Sundays or something like that, it's something that we want to be able to help identify and elevate. So we should have this conversation offline and continue it.
And maybe
meet out there, and Alberto's my rep on this team, but we want to work with you to see what we can do. I can't promise anything. I look on the map, you guys this location is surrounded by multiple routes and they're narrow streets.
And
so that's very tough.
And excuse me I may suggest to MTA maybe to change the route back to the old. Why? Because it's not understandable for me why you change the route, the bus routes to go through this street, Wadsworth Street, because it's like if you see the map, it's like the buses go just in front of the church, the church. And they turn left and right just to go in front of the church without any reason on that. I mean, if you say you may choose the St. Nicholas Street it's bigger one, is wider street, and not using the Wadsworth Avenue in front of the church. It's a suggestion you may think about.
Yeah. I mean, look, all suggestions, we're open to all the suggestions. I can't make any promises. All that has to be reviewed by operations planning for any reroute. But we're willing to take all those in. I mean, up here, it gets a little complicated for the availability of north-south streets because it gets really narrow over here and you have big hills and everything else. So, I mean, I can't promise anything. Alberto can't promise anything. All we can pledge is that we want to work with you guys and meet further on this, and we're happy to do so. We understand the problem and the difficulty for you guys.
Thank you.
Luke, I agree. I have one more comment and then we'll move on. Jim has a comment and then we'll close out.
I actually lived most of my young life a block away from St. Spiridon, so I know this area well. And I want to compliment you, Luke, because I think, the reality of this law is if you double park, even if you're in the car, if the camera sees a picture of you, it's automatic and you're getting a ticket, and that's the end of that, and that's the law. However, as you pointed out, if the usage of the curb were reconfigured, people could be dropped off continuously in the lane, but right now it's just a couple of spaces. We could make it longer, but then they wouldn't be blocking anything and they wouldn't be getting the ticket. So I think you have the germ of a solution, and I appreciate your thinking about it. Thank you.
That's how we're approaching these problems, like the curb
Very
space.
good.
We have one more comment from Bruce and we'll move on and we'll have this conversation offline. I think DOT has to come in and input. We have to rework the curb space. Also, enforcement should be on hand. I think, people come and park in those standing zones and it's not fair to church or parishioners of the school. So it's gonna be a lengthy conversation, but we're gonna try to look for solutions.
Expedite it all before we have to,
Yeah, I get it. Trust me. Go ahead, Bruce.
So when parents come to drop off the kids, do they get out of the car and walk them into the school? Because,
They get the ticket. I am a parent, I drove my daughter, she opens the door to go out, I have taken the ticket already, done.
they're still in the car. That's what I said before. Otherwise, like before the cameras, we used to do that with our kids.
or do you allow kids to go in on their own? Because the school up by,
There are people
like
waiting.
Cabrini, for example, you can't just drop the kid off and let the kid go.
From the school, there are people outside.
There are people.
with
Okay,
yellow-
that's all. That was my question.
Yes.
So you have people who can expedite the kids getting in safely, but the ticket is so fast.
Yes. Parent, I just dropped my
Yeah,
daughter, she opened the door
Yeah,
to
and you
go
got a
out.
ticket.
She
Yeah.
got my ticket.
Yeah, it's if you're blocking the bus route. So if they're coming and they see you, they snap it, you're gone.
Got it, thank you.
We're gonna have more discussion on this. It's with government, things take a while, but
How can we expedite it though? Because,
it's trust me, it's a headache. We'll do our best to bring it to light. DOT, Lyle will give a bit of his input as well, but we just gotta keep at it.
All right, so just let us know what's the next step, as soon as possible.
Yeah. We'll I have your email, so we'll be talking with Alberto. Luke and Alberto, thank you so much. Alberto is great, Luke. I hope he stays with us forever, unless he's getting a promotion.
They want to speak to the councilwoman too.
So, yeah, but let's give them the council members. Thank you, guys.
Also just, you should speak to Carmen De La Rosa.
We spoke with her, we
Okay.
spoke with her office, we had a meeting at the church. And they suggest us first to come to community board to start the conversation so they can jump into. it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lengthy process, but the good thing is, again, we're here to advocate for it. So we'll do our best.
Is there we can do in the meantime to rectify a little bit, as look,
No, because since it's a state law, they're not gonna change it for one block. And that's the horrible part of it. So it's wanna be one of those things where we have to bring DOT involved, because I doubt MTA is gonna tell the bus driver, don't take pictures anymore. Oh, well, the bus is equipped to do it. So if DOT can reconfigure the curb space in that area, then it kind of works to your favor at that point. I know that's parking that we can clear out. There's certain things that we can do in that area, well, DOT can do in that area. We're just here to advocate. We're gonna make sure we push it. This
So
won't just.
May I ask a question? So
Yeah.
would it be possible, even the two spaces that we have in front of the church, when it says no parking anytime, we come on a Sunday and there are cars there. So we can't even, I mean, if we had the whole block, at least people could pull in and then they could unload, or,
Yeah,
we have
that's
a
what-
lot of elderly people.
That's what we're gonna discuss with DOT. We're gonna see if we can extend it to the full block, but also law enforcement. They have to step their game up. That's honestly.
They
that's a headache.
They don't give
Yeah,
tickets
no, they
to
don't.
people
They
that are
don't.
not church cars.
Yeah, I know they don't. Well, we'll advocate, and I'll speak to the public safety chair as well. They have the local precinct come to their meetings, so it's something we'll raise up, and I will invite you guys to the public safety meeting, because that is an issue as well, right? If you're dropping off kids, you have to go 3 blocks away. They have to walk back. Safety. You want to ensure your kid goes into school safely. So it's an ongoing discussion we're gonna have amongst
And
us.
also, it's not only the services that we provide with the church and the children,
Mhm.
we have our people cleaning the neighborhood from the
Yeah,
drugs
no,
and
you
the
guys do
needles. It's another issue.
Yeah.
I just want to, thank you.
No, we appreciate it. Fred, one last comment, we gotta move on.
It's an MTA question and it's close, but so on the block of Fort Washington between underneath the George Washington, which I think is 178 to 177.
Mhm.
It's a bus layover on the southbound lane,
I know what you're
especially
telling me.
during rush hour. And those buses cause tremendous traffic congestion and jams because the buses are turning on 178, making a left-hand turn, and then they're making
Then they're making another one,
left-hand turn
yeah.
on 177. And so if that bus layover zone on Fort Washington could be moved off that block, you would
So-
really increase traffic.
So actually, they had moved it. It used to be between Walls Road and Broadway. They moved it between Fort Washington and Broadway. So that's another whole issue. They moved it, if you guys can remember, a few years back, a couple years ago, right?
Vaguely familiar, yes.
Yeah, so
Is there-
we'll have discussions.
Is there some way to get that on the agenda?
It's a lot of intricate things, but we'll discuss. It's brought into
Leo, let's talk offline about that. So
yeah, we're gonna talk about
I think
it.
there's a lot
It's
of
a
parts
lot more
and-
than this capacity. Yeah. Well, Iman. Thank you, Luke and Alberto. Again, we appreciate you guys.
Awesome.
Right, moving on to the agenda, Lyle. How are you, Lyle? It's been a while.
Evening, Leah. Evening, everyone. I guess just to speak about this from DOT's angle, a couple of things. Number one, when it comes to enforcement, again, DOT is not an enforcement agency. We don't ticket or tow. That's on NYPD. NYPD tickets at their discretion. They tow at their discretion. That's on them. If there are deals or conversations or whatever it is they have with other churches, again, we're not privy to those conversations. Again, PD does what PD wants to do as far as enforcement. Now, in regards to the curbside regulations, now if I'm not mistaken, there is no parking signage in front of the church. If I recall, the reason that no parking signage was installed was at the request of the church. In regards to clergy parking. So the clergy who attend or who work at the church can park in front of the church so long as they have a permit to do so. And that's why it's no parking. It's essentially because it's a religious institution. I don't know. I mean, usually citywide, we have no parking in front of churches. That's standard. I can ask if the question is if we can reconfigure curbside regulations, ideally to take away that no parking and give that parking back to the residents. That's something I'm sure DOT would entertain. I don't know if it's doable, but I can, if that's a request, I can go back to my colleagues and do that. But again, that comes at the risk of losing that clergy parking. So, we're not getting any bigger as a city, and we can only work with the size that we have. Wadsworth is a very narrow street. And it's in one lane in both directions. So, when it comes to one car just being in a through lane, that's double parking right there immediately. And all it takes is one car in order to be double parked and then to have other cars go into the opposite lane for a tragedy to occur. So from an agency standpoint, from DOT's perspective, again, as you know, we take everything from a safety approach. We would never condone anything that would encourage double parking. So like I said, as far as any curbside regulations, like I said, if the church would like, we can have a conversation as far as taking away that no parking for the clergy and giving that space back to the public or to to local residents. That's an option too. But that's pretty much the only thing I can think of as far as any changes to the regulations that we can do along the curb. Residents can park, if I'm not mistaken, on the north side of that block. And yeah, as we know, that's the location just for a lot of MTA buses. So there's, it's heavily trafficked. The George Washington Bridge is around there. It's just a busy area, So like I said, I can go back and, make a request on the church's behalf in regards to the no parking and changing the signage, but that's the reason why it's no parking there.
Excuse me, we had a no parking church only sign there and it was taken down about 5 or 6 years ago and a no parking anytime was put.
Well, again, so long as there's the clergy has a permit that's authorized, clergy can park there with a valid permit. That's it.
Correct, but those parking spaces are taken by other people.
That's enforcement. All we do is put the signs up. That's up to PD. If again, the precinct's ticket in tow. So if there are cars there that shouldn't be there at certain times, again, the signage says no parking. It's at the discretion of local precinct.
Jim.
And the precinct says it's at the discretion of the traffic police because we've spoken to.
That's also part of PD.
Okay.
Traffic safety is part of the precinct. So
okay.
Yeah, it's them.
I get it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's my turn now. I believe, La, you misunderstood the sense of what I was talking about. To begin with, and it sounds like there's no parking for everybody at clergy, and we've created parking spaces for clergy, and these parking spaces for the clergy are actually blocking people from getting into the church. What I was talking about was making no parking probably during school hours and during church hours, not only in front of the church, but for a significant section of the block. And then the drop off and pickup, including in front of the church, would be possible because the cars doing that would not be blocking a traffic lane. They would be in the former parking lane. So I'm talking about creating more no parking for access. Okay, we're
Well,
not talking.
Well, remember,
That's
no parking means that you can't park at all in that space.
during the time that children have to get in and out of the school and during the time there are church services, correct? Because, and again, as you pointed out, and maybe the MTA is still there, this is an absolutely crazy area. There's something like 6 bus routes traveling across 181st Street to the Bronx. And every one of these buses has to turn around, and they can't all turn around on the same streets because that would be even crazier than it is now. So we have this untenable situation. And the solution I'm proposing, and again, you guys and MTA and possibly people from the church and our share, and if I have time, maybe I'll show up too. You know, we have to come up with a solution which allows people during church hours to access the church without getting tickets, which would be along the curb. And the same thing during the school hours so that parents can pick up and drop off their children. So during those hours, there would be no parking because that lane will be needed for access to the 2 different buildings. And the rest of the time, when there's no church, and the school is closed, then it reverts to public parking. I think that's just my suggestion, but that's where I was going. So, and it wasn't quite, it sounded like where you were going, so.
Oh, no, I mean, it's more or less one and the same. I mean, again, there's so much space we have to work with also. Like I said, if the church is willing to have the conversation about reconfiguring the curbs and regulations, we can have that conversation, but that's up to the church.
Yeah, the
So
church.
we can open that because we can open
We're
that
open to
door,
discussion.
but it's gonna probably come at the expense of clergy parking. That's all I'm gonna say. So like I said, it's up to the church if they want to have this conversation.
Well, it's up to the church and the community, where we, obviously want to be involved as well.
Yeah, and I think we'll have the conversation offline just so we can move the agenda. But revisiting the street, the no standing is right in front of the church and the school, but there's parking towards the end of the block. So maybe if we can just take off the whole block for no standing, I'm sure the church will back it up. We will back it up. I'm sure the council member would support it. And maybe we can have a conversation and just, from a certain time, maybe 7 to 4, 7 to 5, whatever it is, like other schools, no parking unless you have that permit there, which would be the clergy or school administration, school staff. And
the difference. The differences between no standing, no parking, no standing any time, no standing between certain hours, as far as who's eligible to park, when and where. And I guess if we change the signage in that location, like I said, then it would be in some instances, everyone would be susceptible to be able to park there, again, at the expense of the clergy being able to park directly in front of the church. So, like I said, something has to give in this instance, more than likely, if in order to get to be there to be a happy medium. So, extending those standing is just going to take away more parking for residents. That's already authorized. That's very standard authorized parking on the north side of the block. So, again, we can have these conversations, but there's probably going to be some give and take here. So, if you want to open that door, we can.
I think we'll have the side conversation. We'll loop MTA again.
Okay.
They change the law, but we'll do something that becomes a happy meeting for everyone. I think there's room for improvement. Obviously, we don't want to inconvenience anyone. We don't want to cause headaches to parents dropping off their kid. If I'm dropping off my kid, I don't want a ticket to ensure my kid gets to school safe versus,
Well, you also have to realize, Leo, that I mean, every single school in the city has issues with double parking and parents. So it's not just this school; it's every school.
No,
So I mean, again, I mean, I've been, on site with countless times when there's always been an issue with parents double parking in front of the school, and everything's case by case. But again, something has to give as far as, what others are willing to do in this instance. Like I said, there's so much space that we have to work with. And, we get a lot of requests also, so like I said, we can have this conversation, in the near future, but like I said, it's, like I said, there probably have to be some give and take in that conversation. So just bring it out there.
Understood. Thank you for the clarification, Lyle. We'll discuss that with the church, with the school, community board, council member. Let's get everybody involved. Let's come to an accord. I think to move forward with this. All right, Lyle, what updates you got for me, man?
I just have one quick update, especially with us being an hour in. Just wanted to mention DOT's million resurfacing schedule. Our season is wrapping up for this year. We were in Northern Manhattan during the late spring and summer. When we got to all community boards 9 through 12 in Northern Manhattan. Our crews are currently in Midtown and in Lower Manhattan. We should be wrapping up this season ideally within the next couple of weeks, most likely by December, weather permitting. As I mentioned before, if there are locations within the district that you feel that DOT should get to as far as wetland resurfacing at some point, please reach out to me, or you can reach out to the agency, and we can see if that can be added to a future list for million resurfacing, ideally next season. Just to reiterate, the season pretty much is in the spring, so around mid-March through mid-November. So like I said, if you have any locations that you'd like to suggest, just send them to me, and I can see if they can be added to a future list with our roadways division in DOT.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll reach out to you. There's adding a few locations. Anybody has questions for Lyle? Oh, Lyle, I actually have two. So West 158th Street, they're dealing issues with the contractor, right? It's a madness. I received a complaint recently, not from people. It was from another resident. I forgot her name, but she almost got killed because there was a truck parked outside. They were dropping off material. They had to go around. She was crossing the street. They almost took her out. It's an unfortunate event
What area are you talking about?
by the new development on 158th Street.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, what can you recommend us to do? Because it seems like, yeah, they apply for the permits, but they're not doing things the right way. I know that they should have inspectors coming, or people coming to just check to make sure that QA or someone make sure that they're following the rules, but it seems that's an issue. And I know DOT doesn't do enforcement, but we want to make sure that DOT's on board and has our back.
Yeah,
as we fight the fight.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, if there are questions or if there are concerns about the construction as far as the layout, yeah, you can reach out to me. We can send an inspector up there to see if everything is as it should be. Prior to any construction citywide, the contractor has to come to DOT, to our Office of Construction Mitigation and Coordination, in order to ideally, as it says, coordinate how traffic is going to flow in a given area once construction begins. So the contractor did reach out to DOT and did put forth a plan in order to have cars go there safely. But if they aren't adhering to that, we can definitely send an inspector up there anytime in order to make sure that everything is as it should. If it isn't, then we can issue a violation to the contractor in order to make sure that they correct themselves. So, given this conversation, I'll reach out to my colleagues to see if we can send somebody up there ideally by the end of this week to see if everything is as it should be, as far as construction materials, vehicle placement, that sort of thing. If Leo, if you can send an email to me just to put it on my radar, I can definitely forward that to my colleagues for their review. And like I said, we should hopefully have an answer for you by the end of this week.
Thank you, Lyle. Bruce has a comment.
Lyle, you will send out an inspector, correct?
Yeah, we have a quality assurance division within DOT. So if there are any issues with construction coordination, that sort of thing, like I said, if vehicles are placed where they shouldn't be, if construction material is where it shouldn't be, we can definitely send an inspector up there just to make sure everything's on the up and up, and basically, follow up with the contractor if needed. So yeah, we can do that.
Now I have a question. I know it's a Department of Building, they have to go through them, but does DOT require them to have a flagger on site for whenever they're doing anything in the streets?
I
don't
think
they have a flagger, right?
It wasn't
Not-
wow.
Yeah, I think not for every project is a flagger necessary, but I think for this one, I think there should be.
Yes.
You actually said, Ed Pinkard sent an email saying that there would be a flagger at the top of the.
Yeah, I was if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, exactly. If I'm not mistaken, there should be one there while construction is taking place. If that's not happening,
we gotta follow up with that.
That's not happening.
Yeah, if that's not happening, like I said, we can get an inspector on it and try something straight.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
had a comment from the public. Ms. Hyde.
sorry, my
No.
name is Wanda Coles and I'm
Yes, yes.
the I should say, the board of directors for River Terrace.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that the flagger is not always there.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, and I think that's important.
It's very
I'd like
important.
to know the
Yeah.
name of the gentleman who was speaking with regards to the inspection.
So Lyle Blackwood, and we can touch bases offline, and Lyle's our representative for DOT, so he comes to our meetings, he's very good, he's attentive, responds to everything I send him, so Lyle, we'll appreciate you as well, but yeah.
No problem.
Safety is a
It's
big
a huge issue, it's a huge issue, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely heard it from the residents prior to the construction, and like I said, the contractor did have a conversation with my colleagues in our construction coordination division. Like I said, there should be guidelines that they are adhering to, but if they're not, like I said, we can follow up.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
My last question for you, Lyle. So for the Audubon Plaza, and I know this is not your department specifically, I believe you guys said, well, DOT said that you guys will let us know the results of the survey, see if we wanted to move forward with the plaza. The plaza gotten a lot of complaints about loud noise, garbage disposal. I know someone is maintaining it. There hasn't been no program since the summer.
They did put the parking lines back up recently.
Yeah, but they still have the planners.
The planners
and they're
blocking
still
it.
closed off. So we just want to see what's going to go on with that. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page before that is implemented permanently. I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, yeah, as far as us coming back to the board, I don't have a specific date yet. The plan is to come back. Let me see what I can find out from my colleagues as far as when DOT plans on coming back and what the plan is ideally for the plaza in its current state, if there's any program, that sort of thing. I think if I'm not mistaken, there was programming on the plaza here and there during the summer. I think there's been a couple of things that have happened, during the fall. There might be one or two things happening, like relatively soon, but if there's anything in the works, I'll pass it along to you and I'll see if I can get a timeline for when we'll be back. But yes, the plan is to come back to the board to continue continue this conversation. So we won't move forward without, that. So and
I hope the partner maintaining the plaza can send us these events. So the board doesn't know any events. Like I said, I've reached out to I forgot her name, but she's the maintenance partner, and she last event they had was mid-August. Their first rollout event, they had another one shortly after, and then after that we haven't seen or heard of anything.
Yeah,
that's
so
sorry.
As far as programming, so the maintenance partner wouldn't necessarily be responsible for programming in the plaza space. If anyone wanted to activate that space for programming, they can go through the street activities permit office. And the maintenance partner would help to facilitate, that process. But there are programs, or events that can take place on that space independent of, the maintenance partner and whatever plans they have. So anyone is eligible as long as they meet the guidelines of SAPO and can activate that space if they want to. So if anything, the maintenance partner is Econos Kids. They may not have the a specific list of events that are taking place on that space, but the street activity permit office should be able to. So if you want to reach out to SAPO, I think Ebenezer should have the information. They should be able to advise as to what future events are taking place on the plaza space. As long as anybody applies and meets the criteria.
Okay.
And who did he say to reach out to?
The street activities permit office. It's from the mayor's office. So SAPO, those are the initials. If you just type in, say, SAPO NYC, into a website, the link should come up for that, and it's the mayor's office in the city of New York. So you should be able to access that information and reach out to them, and they can give you additional information as far as programming and what their guidelines are for any plaza activities and the coordination that goes into that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lyle.
No problem.
Yeah, we have Jody and James. I'm sorry.
I think what the board needs to know is there enough activity there, and usage of the plaza to make it worthwhile to close off that street indefinitely. So, is there any way that the board can find out, how much usage there is of it? How many events over the course of the year will there be? If it's only 3 or 4, I don't think it's worth closing off the whole street.
Well, I mean, ideally, when we think of plaza space, it's not just, safe for, specific programming or specific activities. It's essentially to create a pedestrian space, for people to gather, on all days, So, I can see as far as what programming has occurred to this point on the space. I can reach out to my colleagues to see if they have a particular list that I can, pass along to the board. But ideally, plazas are, supposed to be, more for gathering and more to encourage, pedestrian activity, that sort of thing, in the area. But, I understand, the community board's concerns, over, the space and, how it's been currently utilized. So I can definitely take your concerns back to my colleagues. And like I said, we will have a conversation in the future as far as, this plaza and, the future.
Thank you. Jody?
Yeah, hi Lyle, it's Jody Hurston. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good. So I'm going to actually talk just briefly, and maybe you can give updates and maybe you need to get back to us. But I believe the viaduct is pretty much wrapping up by the end of the year, was what we talked about when we last met with Ed Pink. And then I believe that we were going to start to look at, and Dan Wagner was going to start to redesign the 165th Street to include the right turn. Is that something that's in the plan so that it would be presented to Community Board 12 soon?
Yeah, I know we talked about moving forward with the improvements to the intersection by 165th and Riverside once the viaduct project was wrapping up. That's still the plan. Just have to verify the status of the viaduct to this point. That I have to get in touch with our bridges division on. I know that we had said ideally end of the year, that things will be wrapping up. I'll check in to see what the current status is of the viaduct. But yeah, the plan is still hopefully to move forward with the intersection improvements at 165th and Riverside once the viaduct is wrapped up. So we haven't forgotten. It's just a matter of timing. So I'll see what I can find out for you, and we'll be in touch.
And then the only other thing is, I believe, the lights around the dog park, which is
thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I'll see where we stand on that too. Yeah, thanks for I'll check with our street lighting folks to see where we stand. That's part of a capital project to get those lights installed in the dog park. I'll see if I can get an answer for you soon on that too. But I'll try to twist an arm to get to see if I can get a time frame for you. Thanks for reminding me.
Lyle, I think that it was actually the beginning of 2025. So it would just be nice to know if we're sort of looking at that as the date. And then the only other thing I just want to mention is Upper Riverside Drive. You get back to us on loading zones, promised loading zones along there. We still haven't got those. Resurfacing along that road has not happened. And some traffic calming methods up by the birdhouse.
Okay. I'll check. Let me verify about the neighborhood loading zones being installed. I know that, and as far as the million resurfacing of Upper Riverside, we can add that to a future list. I can definitely give that heads up to our road-based division. I know that we had a conversation as far as, taking a closer look at Upper Riverside just to make it, a little bit more pedestrian friendly. That conversation, we're having those conversations internally now, just to kind of see how we can move forward with that. I remember the conversation that we had on site. So we definitely took it to heart. So we're going to try to see what we can do, to kind of restart that conversation. We didn't forget. So we'll definitely be in touch. That's pretty much going to be most likely under our pedestrian projects group as well. But we didn't forget. So it's just a matter of timing and coordination for that too, and potential next steps. We'll definitely be in touch with you and the council member. In regards to continuing that conversation. We definitely heard you.
Thanks so much, Lyle.
No problem.
You just had me too.
I have a question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have one last question for you, Don.
With
Sure.
regard Side Drive, 155th, between 155th and 158th. Do we know what the status is on the, whatever the repair is going to be on the furthest east side of that street, which is in front of Riverside, in front of my building. and I can't see
River
it.
Terrace?
River Terrace, yeah.
River Terrace, thank
Okay.
you. Lived there 30 years. So I mean, I just have no idea when they're going to get to the curbside of that building.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I know that we had some conversations about the curbside right in front of River Terrace. And that's part of the overall conversation too, with our bikes division, our bridges division, in regards to the overall rehabilitation of the viaduct. So I'll ask my colleagues about that as well. I know that there were some issues as far as curbside access for the longest. I think that should be cleared up, but I can definitely get back to the board with some information in regards to the overall time frame and that curbside space in particular. I know you're basically talking by the bus stop area, pretty much right in front of the building, right, in that general area.
Absolutely.
Yep, I know. So yeah, I'll see what I can find out for you. No problem.
Thank you, Lara.
You're welcome.
We appreciate everything you do. If you can just stick around, we have two presentations. They might fall under DOT's jurisdiction in case we want any answers, but thank you again.
No problem. Glad to help. And as you know, Leo and everybody, if you have any other questions or concerns, suggestions, requests, you can reach out to me or the agency. I'll put my information in the chat, and you can always reach out to me. It's never a problem.
All right, so we're gonna continue on with the agenda. We have Patrick here from Academy, and he will present on some additional shuttle stop for. Is your colleague online? Maybe she might.
We don't have, yeah.
Okay.
We're here.
Come up, Patrick. Yeah, so Patrick, if you can just please introduce yourself. And go right ahead. Floor is yours.
Mr. Chair Jimenez, committee members, thank you. Hello, Lyle. Hello, Luke, and Alberto as well, and the people we work with. My name is Patrick Condren. I'm the Government and Community Affairs person representing for Academy Bus, the operator of the Columbia University Bus Shuttle System. I'm lifelong in the bus industry. I've been working with Academy since 1997. I'm pleased to be here to meet with you regarding this long-standing inter-campus bus shuttle system. Ms. Betsy Morales is also on the call here with me. She's our operations director and supervisor for this service, which has been operating here via Zoom. I'd like to point out that on the agenda it refers to additional bus stops. I would like to explain that there are no additional bus stops.
Okay.
The existing bus stops that we're dealing with.
Okay, it's good to know.
Typos, I have one in here regarding CV9, my apologies.
No.
In the memo here. During recent years, we've coordinated with New York City DOT to establish and maintain bus stop utilization for the efficient and safe use of curbside access at designated locations such as these being presented this evening. We understand you have coordinated with Columbia University in the past in leadership, and this long-standing operation utilized has 6 bus stops here in this community board. But it also includes, as you know, the medical facilities and some of the hospitals for local community residents, which Columbia has added to the system, which is great. The New York City process of bus stop utilization permits, as I will tell you, has developed in recent years. These require us, which we work with the MTA on a regular basis. When we're not doing things like running the marathon yesterday, bringing everybody over. But we're the private operator of public transit here in New York City, in 5 boroughs primarily. There are 6 bus stops here. The stops are listed in the letter given to you by New York City DOT Manhattan Borough Commissioner Ed Pinkar, who you know.
Yeah.
Dated August 15th, and this was pushed from October 7th to today. The schedule's on the website, but I've also given you some copies here. And if anybody in the public would like some, we have some back here as well. That is the known as the inter-campus shuttle system and the shuttle bus route system. are here in the whole system. So that is the reference. The letter is the August 15th letter referring to the 6 stops. And this bus shuttle system has been operating for many years. And Academy has been operated during these past 11 years. Since 2018, we've been utilizing electric buses. We're the largest operating electric buses in New York City today. MTA is coming up. We're just with them every day. There are currently 9 to 10 buses, 8 to 9 and 10 buses during peak operating hours electric. As you may be aware, we've been operating in New York City since 1968. Company is authorized by US DOT, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, members of both national and regional associations, and with the premier privately owned bus company in New York City, providing extensive bus operations with our focus, and it's my background, superior safety and operational considerations, focus, and expertise. We work daily with wonderful people at Columbia University shuttle bus operations and in the university itself. The original focus was students only. That's been expanded in this area for the purposes of medical and community. Senior citizens and other groups of being disabled are all included to be able to use this system. So it's therefore private operator providers of public transit in this community board. And these 6 stops have been operating for about, I think some of us are limited about 6 or 7 years. The other ones are like 10, 11 years. They go back quite a long time. Academy maintains, as I just said, with communications with the MTA. This service is not every 5 minutes. It's every, on the schedule. And we operate from 6:30 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. We thank you for your review and advisory. Betsy, you're on the call too with me? Okay, mic on? Where'd Carol? Nope, she's still there. She had a long day, we all did yesterday.
In the meantime, can you clarify, thank you so much, Patrick, for coming before us. Can you just clarify what you mentioned as far as, can you clarify what you mentioned as far as this being available to seniors in the area? Can you clarify?
Yes. Betsy, is that you on the phone? I just texted her. She said she was on a little while ago.
Let me make sure. I'm sorry, it's a little long-winded.
Yeah, I guess the question is, how does our community?
Yeah, she's on.
Access.
Why I can't get it?
Get to you're on. We're here.
We can hear
You
you.
hear me? I can't see you. I'm sorry.
No worries. Right now we have the
Go
letter.
ahead, Catchy. We have
The
2
letter to
questions
DOT.
regarding I just mentioned access to the public, which includes obviously students with ID at Columbia University, senior citizens, and disabled. Is that correct, Catchy?
Yes, the public, which is the employees, the staff members and the students, also people with disabilities and the seniors with proper credentials they could get on. It's posted outside the buses when they get on the buses. And we have a lot. And as the Passio system that we have in the buses records who gets on the bus and the ID number, so they know who gets on the bus.
If I may, regarding public access, the purpose of my presentation this morning is to include us, as you may have seen in different parts of the city, where it says MTA, in this case, M4, M11, it might be, it'll say the Columbia Bus Shuttle System.
Okay.
It'll identify for the public where the bus stop is,
Yeah.
as opposed to having to go online and look at it, which the students understand, but this will take this to the next level. I'm sorry, you had a question?
No,
So this is the letter that was sent on DOT's behalf.
Oh, thank
Ms.
you.
Smith. And this details the buses, the bus route stops. Because like you said, it would just add to the stops, Columbia Shuttle. So that's
They're all
really what they're
MTA
asking.
stops that we work with the MTA on a regular basis. They're on West 166 from Broadway to St. Nicholas, on Broadway West 165, closer to 167 on Broadway again, 166 to West 68 right here. On West 168 from Washington Avenue to Broadway, close
It's
to
like
Fort
6 or 7
Washington Avenue. And on Broadway from West 169
That's
to
very
168, last but not least, on Fort Washington from West 175 to 176. Do you have something?
Yeah, my question was I'm sorry, I forgot her name, your colleague.
Betsy Morales.
Thank you for being with us. You said everyone with credentials, so I'm still trying to get the clarification for like seniors as someone with disability. They would have to be a Columbia student or employee, or you mean like a person on the street that has a disability or a senior? Can they stop
Sorry to interrupt. Anyone with a disability
Anyone,
and a
that's-
senior.
Okay.
in this-
Columbia offers to the seniors, anyone with disabilities. But the ID and the credentials that they can carry is like maybe our senior citizen card, the disability cards.
Okay, and what do you consider a senior? I just, or anyone, let's say if someone has the MTA, reduced fare card.
I was just gonna say, those of us who are senior citizens, an AARP card or my Metro card.
Yes, that's allowed.
Okay.
So I think.
Yeah, that's good to know. We have Mary
We're not,
Anderson.
it's easily recognizable too.
We have Mary Anderson online. She's the chair of the aging committee, so it's good to know. I didn't know that you guys provided that service.
Well, we've been doing this, and
Senior
this is the
citizens.
purpose. Now we want to put the sign, the whole purpose, we work with the MTA all the time. And the city DOT puts up all the signs. Lyle, do you want to add something there? The tag will go up there that says MTA, then it'll be Columbia University shuttle. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
So what you propose, right now, for
This is
example,
operating
I
every 10
occasionally
minutes.
use your bus. because
Yeah,
I'm
that's
actually a
on time.
student.
Go ahead.
I'm actually a student, so I use the bus sometimes.
Oh, great,
from
thank you.
166th Street. You plan to move your current bus stops to actual bus stops and have a sign there?
We are in actual bus stops and have been for quite some time.
The one at 166th Street is not, and Broadway is not in a bus stop.
Well, I've got right here, 166 and 168, that's right outside on Broadway. We're at the bus stop, we're right there every day.
No, you're about a block.
On Broadway.
Yeah, but
It's like further closer to
park.
the
It's
one
not in the bus
sixty-sixth
stop.
street.
Well, that's correct, we're just back, but they're gonna be putting up a sign, it's underneath where it says bus, I think the M4, the M11, you have several, will be added
that
to
will
that.
be at the bus stop. So the
Exact-
bus will now stop
Exactly,
at
and
the
then,
bus stop.
yes, and then
Now-
city DOT
In
controls.
fact, you
the
know
sign.
what it does now? It actually double parks. So back to our, whatever. So,
It was curbside when I was there this afternoon, and curbside when I was there with Columbia.
well, the last time I took it was a year ago. But anyway, so and the thing that, and I'm very, looking at me, I'm very thrilled to hear this too, even though I get on the bus with my card. You know, if you are a senior citizen, you will be able to use this bus, obviously, there's room.
Today, you can use it as a senior citizen, but it's not widely
Not
known,
obvious.
and that's
Yeah,
what
it's-
Columbia is working on doing that. We're working as the operator with the transportation piece. So we're now working with our governmental agencies that we work with the city DOT and the MTA to say, here's the identification of it. So that's why I opened up with saying, this is not for additional stops.
Yeah.
These are existing
Right.
stops.
But my point is, and I think that we're all on the same wavelength. You and presumably Columbia University itself will publicize the fact that these bus stops, these buses are available for senior citizens.
Well,
Allow me to finish. Again, if there's this facility that nobody knows about, it doesn't do anybody any good. So it has to be publicized, and because occasionally Columbia annoys our neighborhood, it actually happens. This would be a very good thing for Columbia to publicize, and I think it would raise the opinion within the neighborhood of Columbia University that our senior citizens would be able to use these buses, which they don't think they can use right now. That would be a very good thing, and it's so good to hear.
I'll be sure to pass that on to the people.
So on the Columbia website, on the Columbia Transportation website, it's there,
Yes.
that information is there.
Most seniors in our neighborhoods do not have access to get onto a computer or even know how to surf the web. So just want to share that that's something that's not accessible to everyone.
So we'll catch you, we'll be talking, to talk to Phoebe and the other.
Yeah, if you could give them that feedback, that's actually great. Marketing, it just.
I think.
falls on into it.
Yeah, gonna have some-
I used to teach a
we'll be
computer
able
class in Maywood
Have this
for people
conversation
in the neighborhood.
openly, they'll be able to see it YouTube, the meeting.
Yeah,
You know, it's-
exactly.
And it's well documented, we'll pass that on. We're the transportation contractor.
Yeah, you guys are doing it. No, I think it's great service. Something we don't know, but like I said, Mary Anderson is the aging chair, so I'm sure
her
she's gonna
hand
take
is
it
up.
back to the committee, and I would invite you guys to attend the committee and, publicize it. It's something that, he said, it
Bring
just
that up in
promotes.
Columbia on that.
Columbia.
Leo, I've had my hand up for a long time.
Yeah, Mary, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Well,
Lyle,
let's-
this is like, okay.
This is Mary Anderson, so she's the chair of the aging committee.
Oh,
Mary
hello there,
Anderson.
nice to meet you, I'm sorry.
Nice to see you, nice to hear this information. And I would you know, I'm missing a lot of, because people are talking very fast, I'm missing a lot of information. I would love to have you come to the aging committee and present information to us. We meet on the first Thursday of the month in the morning at 10:30 in the morning. So if,
Mary, I'll forward you
you know, maybe
Patrick's.
you can give them my,
Yeah, yeah.
contact information.
Coordinate with the chair and pass that on with our liaison in Columbia, who is we're the operator.
Operator, yeah. Mary, I'll forward you the information for the representative from Columbia and.
Okay, and then I
They
can
should have come to your
contact them,
meeting, but I
yes.
agree with that, yeah.
Columbia, they'll.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my question.
Also, one other question I have is, are
Go ahead,
the buses ADA accessible?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Thank you, Cassie.
So you have ramps that go out and that kind of
Ramps
thing?
for the wheelchairs, yes. And
Okay.
the kneeler as well, they can lift up their legs.
We've been ADA
Okay.
compliant and electric buses a very long time, actually.
Thank you, Patrick. Patrick, so your ask, do you need a resolution?
The ask is for this committee to review our application for the purposes of presenting it to the full board for approval or recommendation to city DOT that there would be an action to support this program, which is what DOT is giving you in the letter as well.
Okay.
I'm here, and Kelsey's here with me to answer any questions in particular. So you would be recommending to the full board your support as a transportation committee after your review.
So guys, the ask is for resolution supporting the signage so that people
That's just
know.
you're asking for the sign at the bus stop. That's really all you're asking for?
He's asking
In the net
more
result,
visibility,
yes, it's
more visibility.
complex,
I'm
but
assuming.
it's specific in the letter right here.
It doesn't really
Oh,
say
can
that.
can we see that? No?
If actually, if you go to the second page, Chair, Hernandez, if the second page specifically recommends to
Oh,
you.
okay.
what
I'm sorry,
the-
can we, I just need a
what
second
is
to
there
read this.
On recommending the ask is the expression. Commissioner.
Oh.
Yeah, so. Okay.
No, but that's not, I need to read that because I can't.
Let me read it from my copy here, if I may, this, I'll turn the page here as well.
We're asking for comments on the oriental postal service stops within 45 days of this.
What was the written?
Who actually pays for the signage?
Columbia University pays for the service.
Okay.
For the
For the
signage.
signage. So DOT allows you to put it up on their signpost and you pay for it or Columbia pays for it?
Well, as part of the systems, it's open to the public, it's part of the New York City DOT.
He's talking about the
But
sign.
all contractors, whether it be Lyft or taxi stands.
I think DOT is the one that provides the sign.
DOT
They don't
does.
pay
It's part
for
of
it.
DOT
DOT,
budget.
if it gets support from us approval, DOT will work on the application,
Sure.
then place it on
Okay.
with our support.
So Commissioner Pinko was using the word, we're asking for comments from the board proposed shuttle bus service. If you're asking us in the past, and I work with a lot of the community boards across the city, the next step is from committee to full board. So
Can I just, is that right? Is that the next step? Because I'm just curious. It seems like you already have permission to use these bus stops. So is it just DOT getting some signs for you that recognize your,
Can you go back up? I'm sorry.
What?
I didn't finish
Good
reading.
question.
I mean,
If I may.
is Lyle still on?
I can explain the history of, go ahead. Lyle, you on with us still? So in 2013, there was something started as the intercity bus permit system. And that was to identify all curbside access by buses, which made a lot of sense. I could talk for an hour on this, but we'll give you 1 minute. Fast forward, it started with the Chinatown buses, back and forth, then intercity curbside buses as we know them today. You see Flix and Go and other things. So the city, this way, the city can manage and control who's authorized to stop at this location or not. That's where it started. So it started with intercity, regular route, different city, and then works its way down to a number of us who are shuttle bus operators, which is not a shuttle bus, this is a shuttle bus system. And that's how it landed here, quite
So
some years ago.
pretty much, DOT's aware of what they're asking. DOT's asking the community board if we support him.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna pass the resolution. If
They already
we
have
all
a
agree
license to stop the bus.
Yeah, they already have the bus,
They need
everything.
permission to put up a
To
sign.
put up a sign.
Well,
And they
that's-
want-
I don't mean to
I
say that it's so
don't
simple,
know.
but it is.
What's that?
Bus stop,
No, I have not.
The only,
Bus stop authorization. is
well,
what
the
it is.
resolution needs to be clear. We have to say in the resolution, you're already allowed
See,
to stop
it's more of a
at this,
comp.
all these sites And what you want to do next is
Well,
put up
the
signs so that people know
city
they can
under
stop
what
in
is
there.
known as the ICBPS system, I'll repeat.
Yes.
The
we'll-
intercity
we'll-
bus
we'll break
service
that down.
system is
Jim,
called.
you might have to help me with this
Decided to,
resolution,
over
just
the
so we
last
can
4 or
include
5
as
years,
much
to
information.
put these shuttle bus systems under that so they can monitor and manage and control all bus access, which we agree 1,000% with. It's still called, if you look it up on the city DOT website, ICBPS, it's the intercity bus permit system. So this way, it's all goes into a modular system, into a portal, and the schedules go on there, and that way, the whole public is aware of where things are. In other words, if I'm driving on Broadway and I see a Con Ed truck pulling up, does he have a permit for that? Digging down there? If there's a building, is there a permit there for it? So if there's buses pulling up on different curbs, do we have a permit for it or not? And that's, the city has gotten this next step, and I think it's a good system.
Yeah.
My job is to explain it a little bit.
Yeah, but the resolution you're asking for is for us to agree to ask DOT to allow you to put up a sign at all these
Yes.
stops. Because you're already allowed to stop there. We're not
It's not
asking for,
even authorized.
But are they authorized on all these
They-
stuff?
they-
And for this current time?
Listen, DOT they have authorization, so they do their pickups and drop off
we're
normal.
trying to keep the resolution.
Current
simple.
from
If you get it-
7
if you make
currently.
it complicated,
That's-
Yes,
Oh,
that's all the time, that's, we're not changing anything in the time, they're not adding
It's
bus
the
stops.
wording in the current system.
We'll help you
So why
write
is
the
that-
resolution,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, we'll write the
Seriously.
resolution, yeah.
Because we know what our people need
Right.
to know. You do your thing, we'll do our thing, and then we'll get it approved for you.
Right, it is technically called bus
So why
stop
was there will be
authorization
10
under the
buses
new
running? Like
ICBPS
everything is
system.
like.
Existing
There will be 10
operations
buses
like
running,
this
whatever.
predate,
The
like
DOT.
CARB.
That was- that was
CARB,
from my
California
pickup,
Air
which is the
Resources
DOT
Board.
commission.
You already got
I guess
too far.
the EPA.
But my understanding when I
You already
spoke to
got
the
to-
office and I
And,
spoke to
well, what I'm
DOT.
saying is, that
It's already there, they
government
just want the signs.
regulations come into play.
Right.
It supersedes
That's
it.
what it says in there,
So
though, so I
the
need-
US DOT authority, previously was the operating authority. Now that the city is taking over this authority, they're backing into the different systems. And they're backing into existing systems too, which we are, in this case. For bus
So
stop,
can-
or the word is authorization.
Yeah, so can you draft what you're?
We are
looking
gonna
for?
draft.
No, we're gonna draft it.
We-
No, I
we know what
defer
we're
to
doing.
whatever.
Yeah,
word you-
we're gonna draft it,
Right.
we'll be in contact just so that we get more information.
Sure.
When
Do you
we
need more
close out a
information
resolution, yeah, we
I
just
have
wanna
a
know
question.
history, how long you've been doing it. The breakdown that you offer these services, we wanna show that it does more good to the community than bad. That's what we wanna show.
Oh, sure. I mean,
I think it's in this letter.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is that I have the email, this email as well.
If I may, I'll ask you, there's a typo on that, there's a copy and paste on the second paragraph regarding community board 9.
But also,
No worries.
also, I think we need to point out that there is a free service for,
We will do that in the
In the
resolution.
resolution, yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
You read my mind, Jen.
yeah, yeah.
You read my mind. I already thought of it. And so did Leo.
I have a
Columbia's the one
question,
paying for it.
people.
Go ahead, Carmen, what's your question?
Columbia's, it must be a good neighbor, so they're doing it.
Go ahead, Carmen.
Is the current, I just need clarification because this letter that's presented to us right now on the screen, it appears to be written in like future tense and is saying there will be 10 buses. Are there currently 10 buses running, one trip every 20 to 30 minutes? And for that schedule that's on that bus?
Betsy, would you like to address the schedule?
Or is there a different schedule currently? Because that's not clear to
Schedule
me.
is here on the table and online. It's accessible to all the public online.
That's not what I'm.
The inter-campus shuttle is what it's called.
Go ahead, Kathy, if you can
Kathy, you
clarify.
with us?
Okay, yes, that's.
While we're waiting, I'd like to read the actual entry from the Columbia website. I found it. It says, community shuttle. Columbia University provides free shuttle bus service for qualifying individuals via the ADA accessible inter-campus shuttle, which is the shuttle you're already running. And then it goes on to say the shuttle connects 96th Street, the Morningside campus, the CU Irving Medical Center, and Harlem Hospital with stops at nearby subway stations and transit stops.
And it also says that it's currently from Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., which is not what says here. So I'm trying to clarify, are you guys asking for us to support an extension of the hours of operation? Because if not, you guys are not being clear. And I've been asking the same question. The
I
website
don't
says
see that.
right
I think
here,
we're looking at a different website.
well, Columbia Transportation, it says hours of operations for the
Nancy,
service.
ask him to let her in. Is it?
And it says from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I don't know if that's different. I'm asking for that. No one's answering.
Two campuses.
It's different, the whole system, we have 4 different
Downtown
routes.
campus.
Oh, they got.
Okay.
Not every route.
Yes,
Got one
yes,
every
they
day.
do. So I'm just, maybe the hospital
I think I could be a little more
To the,
clear. on
athletic
to
center.
define what you.
might be.
It's online.
This is-
Am I here now?
That's you're on.
It connects.
Okay. So yes, we have 8 buses running. There's a red, blue, green line that runs from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock midnight. There's also 2 shuttle buses that go into New Jersey and into the city. We also have the Lamont shuttle that goes to Lamont and comes back to the city. But the buses, they run from 6 o'clock in the morning to 12 midnight down Broadway and up to the Metro North.
Did that answer the question for your phone?
Is
I'm
it
not
only Monday
sure.
to Friday or all week?
Gotcha.
So they run from Monday through Friday, the 8 buses, and then we have Saturday that
What is
runs
different? Oh,
the blue, the green and the red.
So they run on Saturday, but not Sunday.
No Sundays.
Right, okay. Thank you. That was helpful. So, yes.
The hours of service, I think, is start to finish, is a good question. If it is not continuous service at all hours, nor is it same service on different lines. If I may back up 2 steps and simply say, the bus stop utilization has been authorized prior to this under our US DOT authority and New York State DOT authority. This was a state law that was passed in 2013. The New York City DOT is implementing it and authorization now. So what we're looking to do is be compliant with the local law. Our existing operating authority predates, as a lot of the other stuff, they call it grandfathering, exists, but we want to be compliant, and Columbia does too, of course.
Sounds good.
That's the reason.
Thank
No,
you.
I think the confusion is that this letter specifically doesn't.
No, it's
ask for that.
complicated, but we're trying to
It
keep
is.
it
The letter
simple.
from.
Yeah,
you wanna put a
say,
sign.
Oh, they're
this
just
is
saying-
what they want.
Net.
It gives us the whole neck of everything they do, but it doesn't necessarily detail what they're asking for.
Yeah.
So we would have to word in the resolution, so to make it clear to not only the board, but to DOT, that they're requesting signage specifically to go up.
Is Lyle still on?
I thought he was, he's
No,
not. He's not.
I'm still
Alright.
here.
Oh, Lyle, so if we have some clarity, but if you want to add anything to it, so their ask is just for the committee to draft a resolution in support of these signs allowing, I guess, the Columbia bus shuttle on it. Is that what it is?
No, because
I mean, ideally, basically, it's just to make more visible what's already in existence. So it's essentially to put signage in the bus stops that Columbia currently uses. Yeah, it's just visibility, primarily. So as far as a resolution, yes. If I mean, bottom line, yeah. If the board is in support of DOT moving forward with the installation of signage that will indicate that Columbia shuttle buses also stop at these MTA bus stops, that's pretty much a general ask. Yes.
Okay, all right.
And I gave everybody, Lyle, my card with my cell phone on it. We're 24/7 in our business. So if you have a question-
All right, so I'm gonna defer to the board. Are we on board? I guess we'll take a vote, Jim, right?
Well, no, do we have a consensus that we're gonna be in favor of this?
Yeah,
I'm
so
abstaining,
let's take
but
a,
the majority is.
let's take a vote. So
Because that will
James?
determine.
are you in favor? I'm in favor.
Abstain.
Abstain. Favor, and Bruce, you're in favor?
Yeah.
Robin, are you still on?
I'm staying.
Abstain, so we have 2 abstentions. Five in favor, so we pass it.
That passes.
So we will work on drafting a resolution to support the signage.
Right, Leo and I will, and then the committee will get it.
You guys will give an input, yeah.
If we have any confusion, we will definitely.
We will reach out to you.
Anytime.
Are you
Email,
taking,
cell
were you
phone.
taking a vote for the reso?
Wait, and Mary, yes, Mary, yes, you guys,
Hello,
I apologize, Mary, can't forget you.
yes,
Your support?
I do.
Okay,
Very
perfect.
good.
So that's one. Patrick, I'm gonna give you Mary's information. I do think you guys should attend her meeting.
You got my email.
Yeah, that's a great service effort to our elderly
I'll link
community
up
and our
people.
disabled community as well, so.
You do a great job.
We'll put you in contact with Mary and we'll work on the resolution support. Again, we pass the resolution here, but it goes to the general board. The general board has to
Correct.
vote on it.
That's fine.
And then after that, we'll
Process.
send to DOT this process if it does pass, right?
Well, thank you for your time. and
Thank you, Patrick.
participation.
Let me just
Again,
mention one other thing, because this will come up at our general meeting. Because either you or someone like you, or maybe someone from Columbia might be, might want to be present at our general meeting to speak in
What's your
favor.
next date?
When's the general meeting?
It will be
The third Tuesday.
on November 19th. November 19th.
Really?
Yeah, because this month it's a little earlier because of that, so.
Really?
Let me double check I'll send you the information as well.
It will be either November 19th or 26th.
26th.
It's the
Okay.
26th.
It's the 26th, guys.
General board meeting 26.
26.
Okay.
Yeah?
It's there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Early in December.
Well, again, thank you very much. for your-
Thank you, Patrick. And we'll be in contact. We do invite again to go to Mary's committee. And then Jim and I will work on a resolution to present to the board. You can go to the general board meeting to advocate for it.
It's not.
That helps you a lot more, but I don't see this being an issue, honestly. It's a service provided, not only to the community, and it's already existing. It's not, we're not changing anything, we're not adding out. we're
They're not
doing out.
additional. That's the
It's
only
just,
thing.
yeah, it's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, thank
Thank you,
you.
Patrick. All right, guys, let's move on the agenda. Yes, presentation by Inwoods Coalition, Owners Coalition on the Hudson River Greenway. Let me bring up the PowerPoint.
Yes, okay. Refreshing. Last time was here.
Thank you very much.
Thank
for the
you.
question.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
We are waiting for you at the festival, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's this coming weekend, right?
Yes, I will be there
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday. I will be very happy to see you.
Maybe I will walk over.
Short-term solution.
I'm so stuck on this stuff. I think they're adding more time. They're saying they're not. This doesn't make any sense because it's not adding up.
The parking, all it means is free parking.
This is different.
I live in the city. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, there's like three different sets of information. And I
Thank you.
haven't-
No problem.
Oh.
No, this is for
For them?
the church.
Thank you.
It's not.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Let me.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so my name's Dave Tom and I'm a resident of Inwood. And I'm here tonight representing Inwood Owners Coalition. It's a group of about 400 Inwood residents. And we've become concerned about the disconnection of our neighborhood from the rest of Manhattan with regard to safe cycling routes. Before I dive in farther, I will just say that while I do own a bicycle, I also have a car, a Metro card, and a good pair of walking shoes, and I use all those modes. So with that in mind, I want to give a balanced presentation as to an idea that we have with regard to improving the problem with the disconnected, the closed Hudson River Greenway. My background is as a civil engineer, that's why I like talking about these things. I'm going to go very quickly.
I'm so
but,
sorry. I missed your name.
David Tom,
Thank you.
Thom.
Thank you, Tom.
I'm gonna run through this super fast. We always believe in more pictures, less talk, and stop me anytime with questions. Okay, so this presentation was originally done back in 2022 when Parks had to redo the Greenway because of consistent repairs, which caused sinkholes in the planned construction. This is, everyone's probably familiar with that time period. It's relevant again now because the Greenway is getting closed. As a connectivity issue, the Greenway is well used, we all know that, it's multifunction, it's used for recreation commuting. And Upper Manhattan doesn't have the kinds of on-street or separated bike lanes the rest of Manhattan has, deserves a strong connection to the rest of the city's network. And there's really no alternative to the West Side Greenway, right, the Hudson River Greenway, because East Side Greenway dead ends at 155th Street. This map is even out of date, if it was up to date, it would even show more bike lanes downtown, there's very few uptown. Closing the Greenway severs all of Manhattan's connection as well to the 750-mile Empire State Trail. Currently, you can't get there without going through a detour. Empire State Trail was launched a few years ago. We're all familiar with that. It's a huge resource. There is no proper route on the west side of the island because the city has never been able to fund and construct the Lighthouse Link, which is the water level connection that would run next to the Amtrak tracks and close that 1.5-mile gap from the trail that goes south of Dyckman Street. I'll get to questions at the end. I do not have time, sorry. To get to the trail at Dyckman at the end, down to the little red lighthouse. And of course, you could come up with some other clever things, such as using the Amtrak right of way. Amtrak does not need 2 tracks in this part of Inwood Park. It's only a single track north of here. There's probably a way to create a kind of a quickie interim path that wouldn't go over the water, but good luck dealing with a federal agency. So you're left with this current condition of a gravel path that people kind of illegally use to walk on the train tracks, or you have to take the Greenway, which is a bunch of hills next to the highway. So turns out that there's a really good idea here that's very unusual, very unique. There's almost nowhere in the city where you're gonna find this situation, but it's cost efficient, it's proven, and it's functional. And that's because the West Side Highway, or Hudson Parkway in this section, is actually Riverside Drive. It's the old Riverside Drive, which was built 2 lanes each direction. Then Robert Moses added the southbound lanes and made it into 2 3-lane highways. And so when you look at the northbound lanes, this was an old 4-lane right of way. It's the old Riverside Drive. But it's only being used for 3 lanes. There's all kinds of extra space on it. Further to that, it's only 2 lanes wide south of the George Washington Bridge. It's only 2 lanes wide north of the Henry Hudson Bridge. And as we all know, if you've ever driven it, it's really only 1 lane wide at the George Washington Bridge, because usually the traffic's backed up in those 2 right lanes, right? It's the left lane that gets through. And the math bears that out. If you look at traffic data from various points in time, the traffic data, and I'm not going to go into it now, but it basically never hits the capacity of a 2-lane road. Here you see the dip for COVID, but it's very consistent that the top line at the top of the screen would be the capacity of a 2-lane road. Traffic never gets there. It's a lightly used road. And unlike most other MTA bridges, traffic on this bridge is decreasing. On the Henry Hudson Bridge is decreasing, not increasing, because in the 1950s, the interstate system was created, the Deegan was created, and so most traffic uses the Deegan to go north-south, not the roadway that Robert Moses built to go over the Henry Hudson Bridge. So you have a unique situation here. This is a month ago. I just did a quick pull of the data on the Henry Hudson Bridge. The red line is the capacity of 2 lanes. And you can see that the traffic never gets there, not the busiest times, with a couple weeks of first weeks of September. And the most recent data I could find, just as a member of the public, was from 2018 for the road segment. That's from George Washington Bridge to Dyckman. But again, never gets near theoretical capacity of 2 highway lanes. You also had the change to e-tolling, which meant there were no longer backups. So it's not even like you need the 3rd lane for queuing, because traffic just goes straight out e-tolling. And so now we get to precedence. This is Harlem River Driveway, which goes from 155th Street down to Harlem River Drive. This is where there was extra capacity, so a Jersey barrier was put in, and a nice little bike lane was created 2 ways next to the sidewalk, which you see in the images here. It's also been done when they worked on the Empire State Trail. They took sections of Route 100 state highways, put a barrier in, created bike lanes. It's been done on the Sawmill Parkway, which is the extension of Henry Hudson, when they were doing bridge construction. 2 lanes, put in the bike lane, Jersey barrier. It was done on the Henry Hudson Bridge numerous times, and they've done construction, 2 lanes. And then downstairs, they just expanded the bike lane. This just opens this month, where they took a lane, surplus space from the roadway, and created the bike lane. It's been done in this very spot. If you all remember the collapse from the retaining wall, Castle Village, the highway was temporarily, for a period of time, changed to 2 lanes to accommodate construction, no traffic impact. It's been done this year on other roads, the Washington Bridge. Take the surplus bike lane, take the surplus road travel lane, put in the 2-way bike lane with Jersey barriers. So in this case, the westernmost northbound lane is logical. That's the one that's next to the original Riverside Drive sidewalk, which is the current Greenway. So you can move the barriers over, put in the bike lane, no conflicts with any vehicle exits or entries. It's a very, very unusual, easy conversion. Pedestrians would benefit as well. This is the current pinch points, one of the current pinch points, where you have a 3-foot wide section that's bikes and pedestrians. By moving the bikes onto their own path, pedestrians can have the sidewalk themselves, not get run over. And this is the part that's a little less apparent, but drivers would also benefit, because again, the traffic doesn't merit 3 lanes. And when you have a roadway that's wider than the traffic volume requires, that means there's a lot of empty space on the roadway. When there's empty space, drivers speed up. And anyone who's ever driven this knows that drivers do not obey the speed limit on this road very frequently. And there are many, many crashes, dozens of prominent crashes on the Henry Hudson Parkway, precisely because it allows for tremendous speeding. And so a road diet would calm the speeding drivers. This is a known technique by traffic engineers. So making a bikeway could be a temporary pilot during the construction right now, which again, Parks right now has no timeline for reopening the greenway. They have to talk to the state and see when the state's gonna work on it. The sinkholes are very serious. We could be looking at a long period of time where that pathway is closed. Highway, of course, is open. Making a temporary pilot could ease the approval process. If there's no impact, maybe it becomes permanent. If it works, we could go into expanding north into the Bronx with a long missed connection. There's not much infrastructure going north right now, and it would be enhanced safety, as I mentioned, for pedestrians by separating them from the cyclists. So it solves three problems. Maintains the greenway connectivity whenever you need to do repairs, which has happened in 2022. It's happening again right now. It improves the network for the Empire State Trail today, the Bronx tomorrow, and it would be a smart road dive for Henry Hudson Parkway that would reduce speeding. Now some updates I had in here, 2022, they did close for a period of time. The sinkholes were patched. The only detour provided was to go Broadway, which caused considerable media attention and then, whoops, discussion at that time. Sorry, slideshow stop. And then this is showing the elevations of trying to go on that detour. There was lots of press articles about it. It's delayed. The state decided that they did not want to provide an alternate. They played it would cost $2 million to do what I just told you, which makes no sense because you're just sliding over barriers. Anyways, the fix was done and then the fix failed and it closed again. And meanwhile, the bridge did add its bike lane, but the greenway is closed due to additional sinkholes, and that's where we are today. So this is the view as you approach 101st Street, path closed, dead end. All right, so the point is to familiarize everyone with the situation. I would defer to the committee as to your thoughts as to next steps, but I would suggest perhaps a resolution asking city and state DOT to do a proper analysis of the situation and see if something could be done to restore connectivity, both during this period of construction and potentially as a permanent improvement.
Thank you, Dave.
Questions?
Does anybody in the committee? Yeah, go ahead, James.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with this trail and I bike up, I live up there in Inwood. I always thought that what would make the most sense was to continue with that gravel road. There's already a bike path that starts at Dykeman Street and runs about a mile.
Yes.
Uptown, and then it becomes that gravel road that we showed there. But why not just continue that right to the
One word, Amtrak.
Excuse me?
Amtrak.
Jurisdiction. Yeah.
So because as the shoreline gets narrower and narrower, the only way to get south is on Amtrak property. It's an active rail line, and so you would, I mean, you could do it physically if you could convince Amtrak to say, hey, you guys are one track at the bridge, you should take out that second track, use that second track to create a rail trail, put a fence next to the active one. There's no reason you couldn't do it other than Amtrak's unwillingness to do anything with anyone ever.
They don't like you touching their land.
But for the downtown, they built over the river.
Well, that's what I showed you was just the rendering for the city's plan.
There's no
Which is
Amtrak down
unfunded,
there.
and if you had, $200 million lying around, great. It's not gonna happen anytime this decade.
I've never been up that trail as far as it got that narrow.
Yeah, you can look at it on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it narrows right to the edge of the rail. So while it's wide here,
Yeah.
it goes to absolutely nothing. You can kind of see it a bit on the
Okay,
right.
all right, so-
That's where that gray area, that's my rendering here. I've removed the rail, there's a track here. I've removed it in this rendering,
I
put
see,
a gray
I
path
see.
over.
And where is that exactly?
South of where the current path ends, north of the Little Red Lighthouse. So if you could
That's
get
the
Amtrak
missing
to
link
close an active track, absolutely, you could do this.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, now with them, Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
I want to compliment you, Dave, on the excellent job you did. There's another alternative for the lower path, but as Dave sort of pointed out, that would cost millions of dollars because you would leave Amtrak, do whatever they want, and you build something over the river. But that's,
That's this, yeah.
right, that would be very
It's in
expensive.
EDC's plans, it's completely unfunded.
Right. So, and I agree with you. I look actually from my bedroom window, I see that one of the construction sites where the big sinkholes are. So, and then there's been no work, and in fact, those repairs may in fact be rather complicated.
They may.
So you have a good point there. Now, I see no harm in our asking NYC DOT and NYS DOT And this is this whole complicated, one of them owns it, the other one fixes it, and you know, whatever. To actually study your plan. Because as you pointed out, and this is, you know, an extremely important statement you made. If you give people extra capacity, they already drive like idiots, they're gonna drive like bigger idiots. And in fact, one of the reasons that there's so many accidents on this northbound stretch of the Henrietta Parkway is all of a sudden there are these very, you know, major curves, and if you're not ready for them, you know, your car goes out of control. So I would suggest that we, you know, and you can make your presentation available to us so we can get.
Yeah, I
details.
have it.
Right, that we do exactly what you're asking and ask these two agencies to study your plan, or this plan you're proposing, or even your neighbors are proposing. And go from there, because if in fact there is extra capacity and we can make the roads safer, you know, so, you know, basically. You've described a win-win-win. So I've got no problem with that, and certainly they can look at it now, they, you know, and then we'll continue based upon what they have to say.
Let me, Lyle, are you still on?
I'm still here.
Lyle, what is your opinion on this or input? I know that New York City DOT doesn't own all of it, but what do you have to say about this?
Well, first, I guess one question is, has this proposal been sent to Parks?
Yes,
What did they say?
they said that it's a state highway and the pathway itself still, they depend on the state to fix it because the whole thing is state right of way.
Yeah.
And come to the community board and garner support for talking to the state because they, as Parks, have no ability to do anything of what I'm proposing. And they struggle to fix what is there because of the nature of it being undermining of the entire right of way with the century-old retaining walls that really are state property.
Yeah. This area is the jurisdiction is primarily state DOT. Parks, I would say in this instance, would be right as far as at least having to probably have a conversation with the state in order to do any sort of reconfiguration on the parkway itself. I know that as far as at least the detour that is currently installed, at least for the Greenway, Parks basically, a couple of years ago and currently, Parks takes the lead on detours. It's a Parks managed Greenway. Parks would ideally be responsible for any detours to the Greenway. I don't know. I guess the one suggestion I would have, I don't know if you've gone to the Parks Committee with this proposal also. It might be a good idea to speak with them to put this on their radar and to put this on Parks again and to see if maybe they might be able to assist in that way. We'll also having conversations potentially with the state. That would probably be my suggestion at this point.
So the biggest obstacle is that we're dealing not with the city, but with the state on this, using part of their highway.
Multiple.
Well, yeah.
Problem with Park is Park doesn't have money to fund these capital projects. So to get Park to even do a small plaza, it's a headache, a huge headache.
It's a great idea.
I think it's brilliant, honestly. I think this is the route that we should take, and you guys can chime in. I think you should go present this to Park. I think we can work with Park to try to bring up a joint resolution. I'll reach out to State DOT on the side. They never get back to me. That's why I appreciate you. They never get back to me, but I'll poke the bear. That's why I'm here. And once you present to Parks, I'll have a conversation with Luana, who's the chair, and maybe we can have a joint resolution to at least a study. At least a study.
I'm happy to appear Parks, that's fine.
Yeah, at least a study, and then we kind of see where we go with that. Yeah.
There's members of the public with their hands up as well.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Give me 1 second. Let me go over it.
Let me just mention, although Parks is involved, what Dave is proposing is entirely up to DOT. It's their highway. Parks has no say in that matter.
That's correct. It's what,
Right.
what's proposed here is to take a travel lane from the state highway
Exactly,
on state land.
right. So, and
On a-
again, I agree that Parks should be involved, but the reality is that this is a state highway, and, you know.
Let me give a Lego.
But the bike path itself should be a line path, right?
So David, David,
Hey, Lego, we can hear you.
Hi there. Oh, good. Sorry, I'm traveling abroad, so wasn't able to be there tonight, but I would just like to first strongly encourage a joint a resolution by the Transportation Committee to support using one of these underused highway lanes for transportation, including bike transportation and whatnot. I'd also like to say that New York City has laws on the books that say when a safe bike lane is shut down, that the construction company is in charge of providing for a safe detour. However, when they designed this law, City Council forgot to explicitly state that some of the safe bike trails we have in New York City happen to go across Parks land and are not on DOT land. And DOT should not use that as an excuse to not provide for a safe detour. We need to have a partnership. And I've talked to Chris Heitman, the Upper Manhattan Parks admin, about the potential to have a safe detour while they are working on the very broken Hudson River Greenway. And he hasn't been able to make headway. I know, Leo, you have seen my emails that I was sending out every 2 weeks and I got busy and I haven't sent one lately, but I will reiterate again that I do think it's DOT's responsibility to provide an on-street safe. That means you have bollards separating it from the car lanes, a detour while this bike lane is closed. And right now there's no safe way to connect Inwood to the rest of New York City. The bike network is broken. It is broken, and you wouldn't bike with your children down Broadway. So I don't think it is fair that Lyle or anyone else would say yeah, you're expected to do that with your kids and it's Parks' problem. There's no space on Parks land to have a safe detour on Parks land for that bike lane. We need DOT to be a partner and a transportation partner, not just a car partner, in making sure that we have a bike transportation network. And that means the network, for it to be usable, it has to have connectivity between points. There has to be a safe detour. And something that happened just a few days ago, the detour that I have been using, because biking on Broadway, I just find is too unsafe. I've been trying to bike down the Harlem River Greenway, and then I'll cut across 155th Street to bike the rest of my way to work on the Hudson River Greenway. But there was actually a cyclist killed just a couple days ago on 155. I think my internet has gone, so I guess I will stop there. But I would say that we don't have a bike lane network right now, and that Department of Transportation should act like Department of Transportation, and we need support from our Transportation Committee for safe bike transit.
Where was the biker killed?
I think on 155th,
and what?
It was a traffic
The
stop.
biker was killed.
They gave chase
The
and they
biker
went-
was killed on 155th and Broadway, near the Trinity Cemetery.
This happened the week, no,
The
Thursday.
police were engaged in a high-speed chase of a minivan that fled a traffic stop on 152nd, and the minivan, in trying to escape, ran over a cyclist.
And Novella in the second.
But 155th Street is a very wide street. There's not usually that much traffic. It could be a very safe street. I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess it's not as safe. I guess all the roads in Upper Manhattan that don't have hardens.
No, it's an unfortunate, very
Well, the
unfortunate.
bike lane
event.
goes down 158.
Yeah,
Nobody
anyway,
uses it.
The bridge to the 150.
well, I actually hear that they do use it during the morning.
So the bridge to the Hudson River is at 155th. right? That's where the underpass or the connections.
It's not an easy connection to make, but yeah, that's.
Yeah, but the bike lane per se is on one 158, because we talked about putting it on 155 5 years
Like
ago.
when you go down through this park, you usually
I know,
drive around. you
I
come out
know, I
on-
live right there, I know what you're talking about. It's crazy. And bikes.
I mean, look, the entry to Harlem River Greenway is not 158. The entry to Harlem River Greenway is on 155. The entrance point to get onto the Hudson River Greenway is not too bad from 155. So I don't know, like the discussions that went on to decide 158th Street at the time, I was probably not as involved in those because I wasn't having to be a biker in that neighborhood. But now that I am a biker in that neighborhood, I do not detour north to 158th Street to get from the east to west side. No, I take 155th. It makes a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense for getting onto the Hudson River Greenway or taking
Hold on,
the
Alexa,
Riverside Aqueduct.
DOT is looking at 158 bike lane as part of the resolution that we passed to look at the whole traffic column from 158 down to the river and up to Broadway. And part of what Jody was talking about, 165th, that whole area is all Michigas.
You had a question?
Well, yeah, now I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but I think that
So I don't want to
Allegra,
pull off
Allegra,
Dave Tom
Allegra,
being
hold-
there with
Allegra,
his
hold on.
very extremely
Wait a
good
minute.
plan.
I think what
Allegra,
you've
give me a
done
second.
is amazing. And I think it needs to definitely go to DOT and what Jim said and to the state authority to have them look at it. And then what I think is important to recognize as well is that that parkway, which you mentioned, if we're gonna put a bike lane in there, is a very dangerous parkway. There is a lot of speeding that goes on along that parkway. There are no speed cameras. And really outside of those shoulders you're talking about that you showed there's very few shoulders for police to actually sit to monitor that. And you know, it's something if we're going to think about a bike lane to reduce speed and to address safety issues, we should also think about bringing up the fact that there's a lot of speeding along that roadway and that cameras or something would probably be the.
Yeah, the idea is that
Thinking
the
about-
2 lanes, reducing from 3 lanes to 2 is what takes care of the speeding, because it's pretty hard to speed if there's a car in front of you. And right now, most of the time when you're on that road, you switch to a lane that doesn't have a car in front and you slam the accelerator. So it's just matching the road design to.
But I
the
think
volume of the
making
cars
sure we
first.
bring that up as well
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your
That's why I have all the car crash
presentation
pictures in
is-
there.
Yeah, is huge. And, you know, maybe some cameras in
Those
there.
are all pictures of actual Henry Hudson Parkway crashes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a cyclist myself. I want all the bike lanes I can possibly have. But I'm just thinking now, if you remove the shoulder, then there's no shoulder. There's no place to pull over.
There's no shoulder now.
The
Well,
only thing
there's
being
a
removed is
painted-
to go from
painted
3 lanes to
shoulder.
2. There's shoulders in many of the spots because it was built as a 4-lane road. As Riverside Drive and has lots of curves and it varies.
Right, there's a shoulder that's painted.
It's painted by
When you go through the
Cabrini
park,
Express.
park,
That's so-
yeah, park, right?
But yeah, the east, that side doesn't change. I can go back to the pictures, but the general premise is that there's to remove a lane because it has more lanes than needs. They double deck, the Henry Hudson Bridge was originally a single lane bridge. And then it was very popular. Read all about the power broker.
Yeah.
Doubled the bridge, and that was for a time the main route to Westchester County. The second the Deegan was built. I mean, I live in Inwood.
Yeah.
You live in Inwood, everyone gets off to avoid the toll on the Henry Hudson,
Yeah.
cuts up Seaman, cuts over Broadway Bridge, right? People do anything for free. So the benefit to this is you have an unbelievably unique situation that's almost unheard of, where you have a short section of unnecessary surplus lane at the exact point where you need a detour that should, in theory, have no traffic impact, have massive benefits to pedestrians and cyclists and drivers through traffic calming, and in theory, should have minimal cost because you could go up there with a state DOT truck tomorrow and you could just pick up the Jersey barrier and slide it over and it'd be done.
Well,
Yeah,
actually do
Seinfeld,
repairs.
Kramer restriking the
They're
lanes.
currently doing repairs, so it's not a hard ask.
And they're doing repairs, which is the catalyst for the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Worth a study.
Wasn't.
So, there's probably more than just moving the Jersey barriers, because there's probably roadway that has to be fixed up and stuff. But, so, I think we sort of have a consensus, which I will now reiterate. I think number one, you should make precisely this presentation to the Parks and Cultural Affairs committee.
And I'll link.
And then we will coordinate with that committee and probably produce a joint resolution suggesting that the two agencies you mentioned study this. And, we'll go from there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you
was
so
great.
much for.
And thank you for your eloquent,
Very
presentation.
clear presentation
Thank
to
you.
us.
And with a solution, we don't get a lot of.
Right.
presentations. Thank
No,
you.
David is very good at that. He's been
Yeah,
a
we
very
appreciate
good
it.
resident. for
I'm gonna
quite a
connect to
while.
David. I'll email you. I'll connect you with Luana, who's the chair for the Parks Department. So she can know that you're gonna present, they guide you to the agenda, and then we'll have discussions.
Yeah, and
To see
look,
how we
it
can-
seems we have a little time because there's no timetable for fixing this. So
Unfortunately.
this is gonna be a situation for some time.
Yeah, but at least,
But I'd love to talk to Parks if they have
Yeah,
this
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah.
Thank you.
The current path is right next to the wall, which may or may not be in perfect shape, but,
Yeah.
if strange things happen behind the wall, that would cause the very sinkholes they're dealing with.
Oh, yeah, no, this is gonna be a major
Right.
repair.
And therefore, and then the only other complication is because, like you said, the current greenway probably will stay closed for a long time. We might have to figure out some way that this, this two-way bike lane can also be used for pedestrians.
Yeah, it's very possible that they'll have to go to 2 lanes and use that space just to make the repair, but all of this is just reason
But
to
it should
talk about.
definitely
they do it all the
be
time.
It's all reason to talk about. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, David. So we'll continue the discussion. We'll see what Luana says we'll have, and then if we do agree on a joint resolution, we'll put it on next month.
Mhm.
Moving forward. All right. Any old business? I think we covered a lot today. I think we're all burned out.
The e-bike safety? No?
No, so,
They're not coming
the group,
tonight.
they're not coming tonight. They opted out.
Then I stayed for nothing.
I'm so sorry about that.
We love to be here.
But I wanted to hear something, so that's why I stayed.
Yeah, no, they've had issues in the past with other community groups that advocated against them, so they wanted to avoid, it's students presenting. They wanted to avoid the hostility towards the students, and I agree with this. I said, you know what? We'll entertain it soon, and then we'll have a discussion then.
I have a new business that maybe we can talk about it next week, when we talk to, Lyle. They paved Seaman Avenue from the top where Columbia Field is down to where the hill really gets steep going down, but they never finished it down to Dyckman Street.
Oh, that's because it's concrete. They repaved all the asphalt, but that concrete section probably blew their mind and needed a different contract.
But it's a mess, it's
terrible.
dangerous, and it's going downhill with the cyclists that
Terrible.
go a little faster, and then all these bumps and potholes, and it's just as bad going up, because if you're going slow with one of those things, it could,
Is the concrete exposed or it has asphalt?
Concrete road
It's a
bed.
concrete
Reasons
road.
no one knows.
Oh, it's a concrete road?
Yeah.
But
But
it's
yeah,
patched, but
it's in unwalkable terrain. If you walk on, you'll trip. If you bike on, you'll trip.
I'd like to find out. a little bit
We
more about that.
should reach out to Ryan, but I agree. That's a hazard.
It's a good clarification as to why did you stop with the asphalt?
Well, if
Yeah.
I was still there, then he's already heard what we just.
Lalo, you
said.
still on?
Still here.
Thank
Can you send an email with that location? I'll see
Yeah,
if we
we'll
can get some answers for you.
Thank you, Lyle. Appreciate
No
it.
problem. Mm-hmm.
We'll forward that. Go ahead, Phil.
I just thought, can I bring up the permit thing as new business?
Yeah, so
So
bring it up, Dave.
I'll just state it briefly. So we've talked in the past about having a proposal, resolution or study, or even us just thinking about whether there should be resident permit parking only within perhaps all of Community Board 12. And I just want to say that I did contact both our councilperson's office and Gail Brewer, because she used to be borough president, and Gail's office sent to me a white paper, which is a compilation study of other major cities and the experiences they've had. They're all different. They all had different proposals with different results. I think that's something that I would like to have disseminated among all the board members prior to next month. So if we have a discussion, everyone
Yeah,
kind of knows what the lay of the land is.
we'll be discussing it. We're still waiting on sorry, I'm blanking on the congestion tolls. They're supposed to be rolling it out sometime early, and Alberta maybe might have tested early next year. So that's something that we want to discuss. I know City Council member Carmen De La Rosa and Shawna Brady will both be behind it. certain tweaks to it. So I'm gonna reach out to their offices, see where they're still stand on it and some of the details so we can kind of have a discussion on it. It's something we should keep on our radar. As you know, people are gonna come park up north to make their way downtown or midtown, because they're gonna get charged a hefty toll. It's actually pretty expensive.
And
So
I'm just asking if you can send that.
Yeah, I forwarded
sent
it.
to
We
you.
received it a couple years ago, but I'll re-forward it to you. guys.
Yeah, send the link and then we can all.
I'll forward it to you guys. Yeah, he sent it to
Very
me.
good.
I'll forward it to you guys. We discussed it a couple years ago. Bill Bloom, when she was board president, she released a study to saying, hey, this 5 different cities are doing it. These are the results. Some of them were happy, some of them weren't. We can kind of just go through and have a discussion. Yeah. All right.
We have a motion to adjourn.
There you go. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, let's go. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for attending.
Good night.